think he's pushing it, to be fair. So he was giving it big on that fucking live stream. I did a little reply video, commented saying, I'd never be able to get down to 85. Then he followed me. So I messaged him saying, are we getting it on or what? And he goes, I'm just really busy at the moment, mate, but Warren says that you sound. Send me a number over and we'll have a chat or we'll meet up. So I'm like, what? I don't know what channels these are on now, but like...
We're showing guest dick now, or what?
So, I don't know, let's dissect these. So you were in the Navy, then you're selling cock pump video. What, on YouTube?
No mind setting it.
Yeah. It's nuts.
What it is.
He's got about 4 million kids. I think honestly, he must
knows what it's for.
He mustn't have a telly in his house. But we did go to a park and took mushrooms, and he had a conversation with a tree, and he's like in tears and laughing, and he's like, I left a lot in that park, and I'm like, fair fuck.
Josh Gudgeon, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, mate. Nice little setup you've got here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not as good as yours, but it's getting there.
I think it might be better. You've got got all the cameras, lights. Nice background. I'm impressed, mate. It's good.
Nice, thank you very much, mate.
We're blagging it, aren't we, mate?
We're getting there. It's been a while since we met for the first time at Octagon, Manchester. Was that October, November time?
November 4th. It's etched in my memory from a year of promotion.
Oh shit! Yeah. So you had the luxury of doing all the build up to the Jake Quickenon and Paul Smith fight.
Yeah, she filmed with them both behind the scenes for a year to watch it all come to a close in 70 seconds.
Crazy, mate. I to be fair, I did predict that. Yeah. I've known Jake for a little while. I know he's got a bit of a background on him. He's young, fit, athletic. Didn't really know much about Paul, but you being able to be behind the scenes and watch both men in and out of camp, did you predict that as well?
Yeah, I mean, so at the start of it, I was filming in both camps, and then as it sort of got towards the fight, I sort of went Team Paul. I went into Paul's camp because two reasons. Selfishly, I didn't want to go to Essex every week and film with Jake, but also I didn't want to have any influence, because you get to know them like friendly. So then they're both like, they're asking you questions. They're asking you questions like they don't want the answer, but they do want the answer. So like, what do you think? So I'm sort of saying to Paul, I'm like, I'd work on wrestling. If I were you, I'd go wrestling with Charlie Bowling every week, And then Jake might be like, what's Paul look like on the ground? I'm like, he looks pretty good, he looks pretty tidy. But, every fight starts standing. And then as the fight got closer and closer, I did have to, in the last sort of week or two, film in both camps. So I'm watching Jake throw up like question mark kicks against like, UFC veterans and active Bellator fighters. And I'm like, it landed. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? But then I'm in with Paul, and Paul's catching some big submissions on some, high level grapplers. So I'm going, this could be a good fight. I didn't think Jake would make the weight. Nothing against Jake in a sense of his professionalism, but he's such a unit. I mean, have you sparred with him? Have you?
I've not actually trained with him at all. I knew him from doing music years ago. Yeah. But he's quite a big frame. He's a big lad.
6'2", and I think he was 94 kilos when we first started.
He was shredded for fight.
He would absolutely diced, wasn't he?
I saw him put things on social media recently about like how it's affected his hormones and stuff, because to make 77 kilos in his frame, there was nothing left on him. He was starving himself.
Well, there's cutting weight that can affect your hormones, or any peds involved that might have stopped you.
Oh yeah, you think?
Nah, I don't really. I'm not
massive allegation.
I won't do that. No, I can't do that to him. I can't do that to him. But no,
it was good shit.
He was in tremendous shape.
Starving yourself like that through severe calorie restriction, and then going through, I'm going to guess what these boys do in terms of pulling water out of the body. It's going to have a massive effect.
I mean, neither of them were tested. So like Octagon fighters are not tested for PEDs. So if I were them,
and Paul the Joker just come in juiced at girls.
To be fair, Paul looked in good shape as well, though.
Yeah.
So why did Paul take that then? Just wanted a challenge?
Paul's a massive MMA fan.
Is he?
So I think he was living his childhood dream. Probably would have done it a bit sooner than 41-year-old, but he wanted to do the walkout. He wanted to embrace it. I went to Prague with him in December the year before, and they did a walkout. When they announced it, they went, you can do a walkout at the O2 Arena. So like 22,000 fans, he walks out. None of them have a fucking clue who he is, but he's like, he's got his walkout music. He's embracing the crowd. He's like, right, I'm in. But he did it to raise money for charity, so he raised a fortune for Weapons Down, Gloves Up. So that was his reason for it. And Jake won the fight, but Paul won everything else. Like Paul won the pre-fight presses, the post-fight presses, the post-fight speech.
Bro, that post-fight speech was sick.
Yeah, imagine getting knocked out and then being able to deliver
and then just getting up and just being funny as fucking everyone's like, all the crowd was still buzzing for him after that. Mate.
Is he like that when you just round him everyday life, just a funny man?
Yes and no. He's really quiet.
Is he?
He's like quite timid and quiet. And then when he goes on stage, he's just this beast, He's the nicest guy you'll ever meet. He'll do anything for you. He's just one of the most genuine people that you'll ever meet, and he deserves all his success. He's doing an arena tour this year. Do you know what I mean? He's going big. So
Did you manage to spend some time with him in Amsterdam?
yeah.
Did that go west?
Nah, that's what he wanted. It was like end of tour blowout.
right.
So he invited me out to film his special. So he did a special on the Thursday night. He invited all of his support acts out, everybody out, best hotels, and they did a show. And then after that, it would just enjoy yourself, you know. So it was more timid than I expected when you see his stand-up shows and all about drugs and that. But we did go to a park and they took mushrooms, and he had a conversation with a tree, and
That's what we're talking
he's
about.
like in
My
tears
man.
and laughing, and you know, he's like, I left a lot in that park, and I'm like, fair fucks to you.
Have you
mate.
seen his DMT trip story?
Yeah, he told it on our podcast.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck
Which
it.
were it's nuts because people are talking about it, and it was weird because he told it on our podcast. We released a clip, and then his DMT story from stage went viral. So all that audience went looking for this story, ended up on our podcast. You know, to watch it. And there's like a clip with like 400,000 views, and it's not his stage clip. It's like from our podcast.
Nice.
But everyone that I've never done DMT. But everyone that has said that's the best description that you could ever ask for.
We've played a little bit with DMT. We've done the pen, and I think he had. I don't know how he remembers it so well because like I remembered mine to a certain extent. So as soon as I come out of it, and he was like, "Oh, what did you see?" I could explain it there and then, but even still, then I couldn't really fully describe what had gone on. But for him to be able to like fully live, but it will have hit it way harder than I kind of played it.
I think that's the skill of a comedian, is to be able to relay a story in such like vivid detail.
Yeah, definitely.
Because all of his stories, stage stories, are just so. They're obviously elaborate truths, but it's just a story that gets the best bang for your buck. So I think that is the skill of any comedian, is to be able to, you know, I can't remember what I had for breakfast.
They do a
So
lot of
I'm
writing then, comedians. You just sit down and
I asked Paul this, and he said, I don't write anything
don't
down.
write anything
He just
down.
remembers it.
Wow.
And I'm like, obviously they'll work these bits on stage constantly, so they'll refine it, and then they'll have multiple bits that they piece together into a show. And I think that's how they do it. They just try to remember
He
it.
seems to be driving about in Lamborghinis and got all the cars.
I said he's like a GTA character
He
because
is,
he rang me up and he's like, "Oh, I'm thinking about getting rid of the McLaren. There's a purple Rolls Royce in front of us here." And I'm like, you're like a knockoff McGregor.
So he's cashing in on this comedian game then, isn't he?
Oh, I think he sold 200 or maybe 300,000 tickets last year, which is a lot. You know, like all these theatres up and out country. He's touring. He's doing 4 or 5 shows a week. This year, last year he did his pre-sale for 2024 for this Pablo Escobar tour, and I think he sold 300,000 on first day. So if a ticket's 20, 30 quid, like, do the maths, man. If he's got 1 million seats available this year and he sees, I don't know, 30% of it, I don't know what his split would be with how it's all set up. He's done all right.
My man.
That's nice.
It's fucking class, isn't it?
To say I watched him tell a story from him buying a A-class. Did you see that?
Yes, yeah.
He's gone from, I can't remember what car he was driving back first, and then he was like scrimping and scraping about driving an A-class and regretting that. Now he's fucking buying purple Rolls Royces.
It's funny though, because he still lives in like a regular house.
Does he?
So like he pulls up in his McLaren and this, you know, SQ7 or SQ8 or whatever it is, in a like 4-bed detached house on a new build estate. It's like, I think you need to move house, mate.
Yeah, need a little gated community there.
Yeah.
That's funny. Another entertaining fight from the Octagon. Well, not a fight, but the match off, the face off that I'm looking forward to watching in Newcastle end of this month. Jack Cartwright and
Jonas McGard.
that's the guy. The build. Have you been doing any build up for that?
I've not done anything.
Fully out of that now.
Yeah, so like I stopped working with Octagon after the Germany card in November, because they wanted to do like some behind the scenes, like some documentary to lead into that fight. And I was slammed in December anyway because we had Beard's music video, we had loads of other stuff going on, and I was like, I'm done now. You know, if they were going to do another stage for the cage this year, I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do that again. It just took over my life. So
Really? Is it not worth the reward though?
The answer's no. The answer's no.
Well, no, I mean, it depends. Like, if I were young and single, then yeah. But like, I've got other clients, and I've got every client that I'm working with is smashing it. So then they all want more of your time, including Octagons. Then they started off, we was doing one little thing, and it were 2, then 3 projects, and you're going, I've run out of time, and I'm flying out to different country every 3 weeks. I think it's 18 shows this year, so I would literally be on a plane every 2 or 3 weeks. I've got family at home. I can't do this anymore. and they need people to work for them. And they started to treat us like we worked for them, as in like, you know, employment, and we're not contracted, you know, like so that was where it sort of like, I went, I need to get my time back, concentrate on my podcast. But the Jonas McGard fight versus Jack Cartwright, that were a nice little promo.
When they got in cage at end, I was pissing myself at Jack, mate. He's funny, him.
Yeah.
How funny and fast he is with his tongue. Because I don't feel like he planned any of that. You know, like Conor McGregor and that, they'll sort of maybe even have a ghostwriter or plan what to say, whereas he just looks like he just jumped in and he's just like, shut the fuck up, Jonas, and just, he's a crazy guy.
What did he say? You couldn't bang a wank out. You couldn't bang a wank
Solid line.
Yeah.
Proper northern line, that, mate.
But he just won his fight, so like the crowd was on his side, so Jonas were fucked there. Like Jonas is a nice guy, he's a good guy. He gave me so much time when he was the champion, you know, over the year. So, you know, I think it'd be a good knock for him, but I'm intrigued to see if Octagon can crack the UK, because I think there's two sides to it. The British are not very welcoming to anybody, and especially when they don't speak English. Yeah. So, like, them two factors are going to be a big problem when most of their fighters are Czech or Slovak or German, broken English. And like, our fans don't even like the English fighters.
No.
So it's a tough gig, isn't it?
The production level in that is all top level. Like, the show, we were impressed, weren't we? It was a sick show, but I know what you're saying. When it's all foreign fighters, like, you won't ever tune in to watch them.
Octagon is a production company, not an MMA show. Yeah, that's my view of it. They're a massive production company that happens to have an MMA show, and if you've got Andre and Pavel at the top, the two owners, he came from a production background, so he's like, what's the best production? Like, what's equivalent to UFC? That's what we're going to make. Andre works with another matchmaker called Andre to get the best fights that they possibly can. So like, they've got all the recipe. I think the only downfall is that they're not English or American, and I think that's what's going to be the decider.
Before we dive into content creation and sort of what you're up to, do you watch much BKFC?
I don't. I only watch when Rico's fighting or Danny. So this was my problem when I were at Octagon. I know a lot about grappling. I don't know much about striking. So even when I was calling the fights, you know, for like I did like a behind the scenes vlog, and everybody enjoyed it, but I didn't really know what I was seeing with striking. Like, I respect what it is, but because I don't strike, I don't know exactly what it is. So when I watch BKFC or boxing, I'm not that into it, but I love grappling. But then if you just watch grappling, it's boring. So that's why MMA is like the perfect. I would trying to be like, I were almost like the casual fan, just trying to giving the rest of the casuals a bit of a voice, you know.
Until it went on ground, then you're like, yeah, he's got him in a fucking inverted
triangle.
triangle.
Yeah. So on the ground, I'm like, right, this is what he's doing. I know, you know, like I can call the submissions and stuff, like striking.
So it's funny what you say there in terms of being a production company first and foremost. I think if BKFC, I'm not saying that BKFC are way off the mark, but I think if the sport they've got, if they could take the production value and understand the importance of that all round, I think that could be one of the best sports on the planet.
Yeah, I went for food with Danny Mitchell last week, and he said the same thing. It's so the production and the organisation's not as like it should be better to match what fights they're making.
Yeah, there's been an ice rink, mate. It's fucking freezing cold. And
really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw you boys did like a behind the scenes podcast. Called it.
Yeah,
we
like
got
a
pulled
little
up for that
commentary
live,
thing.
didn't we?
Yeah, they commented on it like, lads, if you're going to use us content, you need to ask permission first. You need to take this down.
That probably is last time we sort of do it like that.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Especially we just do it as a favour, just to like go and just help the show out.
What the fuck did you think you were going to do? You rocked up with like cameras, microphones.
We're going to sit and watch the fights. That's what we've come to do. Like, but
it's a bit crazy.
I just don't think they get it. They don't get attracting a new audience to the show.
Yeah.
Like, fight fans will always like bare knuckle. It's tradition. It's probably one of the oldest forms of fighting there's ever been. But you've got to get new eyes on it. Yeah, these fighters need to be like been paid well. You're only going to do that through eyeballs.
Fighters need to realise it's all about the social media now. And like, you need to be a good fighter, but you need to be able to sell the fight. And a lot of MMA fighters miss that. They think, I can be a slick fighter. I can win everything. But if you can't talk and you can't sell a fight, you're never going to make any money, and you're fucked. So, and it's the same with like the promotions. You know, like, it was weird. As soon as I'd finished with Octagon, I went out to Amsterdam with Paul Smith, and one at local. What was it? I think it was FCC. Might be FCC. Are they on Fight Pass?
Yeah.
They sent me a message straight away. They're like, I want to talk to you.
What, Adam Tay?
But I haven't spoke to him yet. So like, I'm like, yeah, here's my number. You know, give us a bell next week, and they never rang me. But I wasn't looking to go back into that world anyway. Yeah. But I think the problem is it's so expensive to get the production level at like Octagon or at UFC. It's expensive to do, innit? I mean, you know how expensive this equipment is, but when you're shooting, multiple fighters over multiple days. So if you've got 10 fights, that's 20 fighters. It's 20 fighters in a few days, and then you've got like all the post production. Then you've got on the night, and if a cam up costs you, I don't know, pick a number, anywhere from £300 to £1,000. It's a lot of money to promote that fight, and if you don't sell the tickets at the end of it,
I felt that with there. It was a little bit massive arena, but they didn't fill it, did they?
what with Octagon?
No.
The way, I don't know. I mean,
They must have lost some dough there. I was looking at that, just thinking.
Do you think?
Yeah, that's all I was thinking. You got to pay the fights. You just mentioned the production value and what they've brought to it, and then unless there's a lot of pay-per-views going on that goes unseen, but I don't know.
so like there were what was 18,000 seats, Manchester Arena, biggest arena in the UK.
Yeah.
Very optimistic for your first outing. They sold 4,000 tickets, I think. So if you notice, they shut down like the top 2 tiers. So it looked kind of small when you're in there. It was quite nice. It was quite intimate, but that's a lot of money lost into the rafters. Now, fair play to Andre, who was one of the owners. He said, we're not giving tickets away. We're not like the UFC. We're not, or these other promotions. We're not going to just give them away to make us look busier. This is what we did. So like the world definitely lost money. You know, if you imagine just on purses and then the production and they also, like, hindsight's 2020. They signed a deal with Channel 4 probably about 2 months out from the fight, and then they went, right, it's going to be free to watch on Channel 4. So it's like, well, if you've got the options to pay the money from anywhere,
What? So that you could watch the fight for free on Channel 4?
yes, it was all streamed live on Channel 4 streaming, and so even the Stage of the Cage show that we did for Octagon, that was streamed on Channel 4 as well, and it finished the week of the fight. So the problem with that is, if you watch any of the UFC ones, where, what would they call it?
Like Contender Series
like
or
the
Ultimate Fighter.
The Ultimate Fighter. That stops about 2 months before the actual fight. So it gives people an opportunity to buy into a fighter and then decide, right, I need to get to Vegas, so I need to book my plane tickets, book an hotel, and we're going to go watch this fight happen. If you watch it and you find out that I'm in Team Jake, and it's the week before, and you live in fucking London, you're not going to come up to Manchester on that weekend before Christmas, because you've already spent all your money for Christmas. So I think there's a lot of learnings there. But hindsight's 2020. Like, the props that you've got to give to them for just going for it. Definitely. And they've got four shows this year as well: Newcastle, Birmingham, 2 more at end of year. Like, I'm going to go to Newcastle and watch it, because I'm a fan. You know,
We've been toying with that, because I do like that Cartwright.
Yeah,
I like what he's doing.
yeah.
Who wins that fight?
I don't know, because I mean, that was Jack Cartwright's first fight, and obviously we're in Cage Warriors before that, wasn't he? But like, I was so entrenched in Octagon that like there were nothing. I've not watched anything else. I haven't watched UFC, so I've watched Octagon for like 18 months. I don't know what else is going on anymore. Who have you got?
I like Jack.
Yeah, we were sat when we turned up where we got situated there. Is Swedish. Is he Swedish?
He's from Greenland or something like that.
Denmark.
Jonas, Denmark.
Danish.
Yeah.
He was sat behind us, wasn't he? And
Yeah.
and then obviously that happened in the ring after. I was like, fucking hell, that's
Yeah, we're good. I mean, Jonas is a good talker. He was a really good champion as well. What was the guy that he lost to? Brazilian guy. It dominated the fight, actually, which was quite surprising. But since up to that point, he was the longest reigning champion in Octagon. You know, he'd been there for a long time. It was funny. He said, I go out to the Czech Republic. I'm like Conor McGregor. People want selfies. People love me. I go back home. Nobody gives a fuck about me. The Czech fans, they're amazing. And that's why I just don't know if it'll be transferable into the UK.
well, there's raging fans probably get behind it.
Oh, mate, it's like a national sport. Like, the family comes out. You know, you're going to arena at 5:30. First fight's at 6. It'll be rammed. Family, nan, granddad, mum, dad, kids, everybody's there to watch fighting. UFC, nobody's there till main event anyway, even in the UK.
It's just full of alkies, mate, just wanting us to piss up in a fighting crowd.
Show me blood.
Should we try and change gears into this YouTube world then?
Yeah, I want to, but I went on your website and saw that you worked with SAS Who Dares Wins.
Oh, yes, we did Ant Middleton.
Yeah.
Did a series of, so he put a podcast out called the Ether Project, Ether being the truth serum, just after COVID. Pretty good timing for him really. So we did a full season of that, and then he went off to Australia for all this last year, filming $1 Million Island and SAS Australia and stuff. But that was cool, man. Like, it was cool to work with him. He is a consummate professional.
Is it?
And he's exactly what you see like on telly. You know, he is
The real deal.
He's the real deal. So fair fucks to Ant. Like, he's just a nice guy. His team's cool. His management's cool. But he's so ambitious. It's like, I'm going to do this show, I'm going to do that show, I'm going to climb fucking Mount Everest, I'm going to do this podcast, that podcast. I'm like, how the fuck do you keep up with this guy, you know?
It's that commando mindset, innit?
Yeah. It's nuts.
what it is.
He's got about 4 million kids. I think honestly, he must
Knows what it's for.
he mustn't have a telly in his house. Went round to his house, there's like 7 kids, 3 dogs. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it's funny as fuck. Got to breed, haven't you?
Like, you know, right?
Well, I've got one way now, yeah.
Congratulations.
Cheers, mate. You got one as well?
I've got a 3-year-old, almost a 3-year-old.
Because I saw you talking about her on a podcast. I think it was your most recent one, but you don't like, you're like, oh, I can't show you because it's got the thing. But then I went to your Instagram, there's not much on there. So
I don't put any like family stuff on my social media.
So this is what I've said to my girlfriend. I'm like, because of obviously the nature of what I do as well, I don't really want to mix them two together. And she's like, no, but you can't, like, what, you're going to hide the kid away? And I'm like, no, not at all. But not everyone on social media needs to see me kid, do they?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a nobody, but like it's just not my thing. You know, like my social media is just professionally, like I have a laugh. It's the podcast, it's behind the scenes, but what there's no real positives from putting my family on there, and I enjoy the family's not on there.
Yeah,
it's almost like it's like 2 separate lives.
Yeah,
and I'd rather keep it that
That's
way.
how I like it.
Yeah,
but she's just hard explaining that to a 24-year-old hormonal girl at the moment. So
yeah,
just got to ride with it.
It's transitioning. It's perfect what you say. I never really thought about that. You transition from its original purpose, which was being social with your family and friends, to being a professional on it.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think you've got to somewhat. There comes a point where you've probably got to separate that.
I mean, I've been doing it for like we met 5 years ago probably. Like I've only ever put on like the stuff that I'm working on. I don't go on Facebook to see what like people, my friends or whatever's up to, like, because I'd see my friends, you know, like it literally is just a professional platform for me. And I prefer that's more my thing. And I see like other sports people, you know, Alex Walmsley from St. Helens. I played with him at Celtic, and his Instagram's like him, you know, he's done 10 years at St. Helens, and he's won all these grand finals, and there's his kids, and I'm like, it's a bit confusing if you're a fan, and this is probably like a thing for MMA fighters. If you're a fan of an MMA fighter, I just want to see you doing the MMA stuff and who you're working with and who you're rolling with. I'm not that bothered, with all due respect, to what you do with your wife and kids on a weekend. I think
I agree, but don't get me wrong, there probably is people out there that probably like to see everything inside. Like, let's say Conor McGregor likes to put stuff of his kids being involved in boxing, sport, running, doing whatever, him on his yacht with his missus. Some people like to see everything inside his life.
Look how well received that Beckham documentary on Netflix, and that's pretty much his life. I know it's his life story, and he's an outlier. Beckham's Beckham, innit? So
but it's done now, isn't it? Like that's because it's like that's looking back retrospectively at it. Yeah. So like all these kids are grown up, they've got their own lives. At the time, you watch that Beckham documentary, and the paparazzi are like taking pictures of it. Is like they didn't want his kids to be shown on online, and like fans get weird. I ain't got fans, but like I've been around at Middleton. I've been around Beard Meets Food. People get fucking weird, man. The DMs get weird. Everything gets strange.
They get weird in person.
Now everyone's pretty normal in person, but like the anonymity online, what people say, you know, slagging off your missus, slagging off your kids, and I've seen some mad shit that Adam's like gets DM'd, and it's terrifying.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so like,
or just threatening as well, probably a little
threatening, disrespectful, talking about his family, like just the worst shit. People are weird as fuck online because they can get away with it.
You know, they need to do something with that policing wise, because you should just be able to attach your profile to an identification. I think everyone should be open to that. You know, so a troll can't just come in and say, boom.
I said that, right, when I can't remember what it was. Something will have happened, you know, it'll have been some sort of like movement. And I was like, oh, if you had to have an ID with every social media platform, we good. But then you're fucked because Facebook and Instagram have all got everybody's identification. So if you go to the old social credit system that you see on like Black Mirror, if you're attached to your social media and you say one thing, that if we get taken over, like that's against you as in the social standing. Yeah. You get knocked down a few, and it's proper Black Mirror stuff. But it's true, isn't it? Like if you haven't got it, the anonymity should give you that freedom, you know. So
just feeds these faceless trolls, though, doesn't it? Then who just haven't got. And
I think you've just got
not doing anything in their life, but yet comment and document on what everyone else is doing.
Sometimes that is their life as well. That's the worst thing about it.
I think they're just sat in the mum's bedroom, just like spare bedroom,
just fucking eating Watsits, mate, and just drinking Lucasades and just.
What would bring anyone who I follow, who I look to? It's like I'm inspired. Like, look what these people are doing. Like that is awesome. To then pass comment. I don't know if it's lent more into that of who is influential right now, you know, like
it's like 15 seconds of fame though. Like we had James Smith on the podcast, and he was talking about, you know, people like trivial stuff. So he's like, if you want to like get some people to comment on your content, he's like, in the title, just spell something wrong. And everybody will come on there just to tell you why you spelled this wrong. You're a dickhead. You should have put an apostrophe there.
Yeah.
It is like he's done it on purpose to get people to comment. But that's a small example of it'll get people to engage in this because everybody wants to be a smart ass because you've got 10 seconds of calling James Smith an illiterate dickhead. You know, like, and that's a small example.
I'm a big fan of James Smith.
Yeah, he's a legend, mate.
Were he good in person as, like you say, they're same sort of better?
It's just exactly what you see on there, but like just a little bit more, you know, and. Just a little bit.
Is he out in Australia full time now?
Yeah, he lives in Australia. So it was nuts because he were only in the UK for 7 days. And one of those days he came up from Windsor to Leeds to do a podcast with us. And then he did a food challenge with Adam. So that was the hook. It was like, right, he's a big fan of Beard Meats Food.
Yeah.
That's what got us in there. And I just DM'd him and I said, look, come up north. Are you in the UK? Do you want to do a podcast and do a food challenge? He's like, fuck yeah.
Is he a big lump?
Yeah, mate. I thought it'd be
I thought it'd be big.
I thought it'd be like your size, and you're a big lad. He's
High
probably
on him.
6'1", big fucking head, 96 kilos or something. And I looked at him and I went, I wouldn't want to roll with him.
Watched him rolling with Thurston.
Yeah.
And that would, I think, a bit of a welcome.
When he said like,
welcome to jiu-jitsu.
His size gonna help me, and he was like, no.
It's not gonna know.
But it's because he's massive. Do you know what I mean? He's a fucking unit. I said to him though, he's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. And I'm like, how long have you been doing it for? He's like, I'm obsessed with it. This is my life now, you know. And he's like, always talking about it on social media. I said, how long till the brown belt? And he's like, I think I'm nearly there. He flew home. So like, we filmed on the 27th. He flew home on the 28th. Almost 24 hours to get home. 29th, he went and did an open mic at his gym, got his brown belt. So he's fucking legit, mate. I wouldn't.
I don't really know too much that means. I'm surmising that's a huge accolade.
He's
Brown
like
belt,
one off
below
black belt.
Yeah.
It's probably been what, 7
He's getting into it now. I've been told he's wrapping a few people up on mats. That's what I've been told.
I seen you right now. I saw one of your vlogs you down at AVT doing striking.
Well, this is it. So I've trained at AVT for the last 3 or 4 weeks, but I'm moving to Warrington in like probably 2 or 3 weeks. So it's just a shame that I'm not going to be able to keep training there properly. But
right.
I'm going to keep training. Like jiu-jitsu, it's something that I started when I was like 17 till about 19.
Yeah.
Didn't really do any gi, so I never got graded or thought about even getting graded. And then now I've come back into it. I still don't want to do gi at all, but I do want to get better at jiu-jitsu and wrestling and maybe potentially fight again in MMA this year.
What gym are you going to go to?
Fighting for Fitness, where Tom Aspinall trains.
Oh, nice.
So I've trained there a couple of times when I go over and see, because my sister's brother, he trains there every now and then. So
Yeah.
But it looks like a good gym. It's not as, I won't say it's as good as AVT, but...
Because you've got a Blackledge in Wigan as well, Tom Blackledge.
Yeah.
So that's an option for you.
Yeah.
He's a legend, Tom Blackledge.
How daunting is it for me, who's never done this, to walk in that gym for the first time if you don't know anyone?
Just depends, like, just don't walk in with swagger, mates, you'll just get wrapped up. But if you walk in normal and don't know anyone, it is quite intimidating. Even me, my first session back at AVT, when I knew a couple of people there, you walk in and you see all fresh faces, and in a fighting gym, you do get eyed up a little bit, like, is he any good? Who's that guy? Like, what? So for you to walk in, it would be a bit intimidating, but you just walk in and you're a fucking outgoing lad. You just introduce yourself and be like, it's my first time
I
here.
relate to rugby. Like when I played university rugby there, like that first training session, it's
exactly the same.
You just get into grips with the contact, get how hard do we go in training. It's like learning. People have different ways of doing rugby. Some people go really hard in training. Some people are more relaxed. So
just go to the sort of like beginner classes. So they do, I think Monday night and Wednesday night is in the cage. They do BJJ fundamentals. Sign up this month, you get a free gi, apparently. That's what
it is?
Danny, you sign up, you get a free gi, so you've got no excuses. You just get in the cage and just go for it. Because like you've got to start somewhere. I think I remember recalling the weirdest thing is like when you've got to like get into mount on another bloke.
I don't think that'll bother me because I've done plenty of wrestling with rugby, so I don't think that'll bother me.
Like I just found it weird that like you've got this stranger that you've known before and you're like that close to somebody.
Yeah.
Like it's just so.
It's like equally as weird as well when you roll with a girl and
do you feel a little bit?
they
Do you
get
feel a
in the
little bit
guards.
gay? You feel a little bit gay?
It's just weird having a man sat on your chest looking down on you, innit?
It's just it's like it's until you've done it for a while and you go, this is part of it, because then you learn how to put pressure on it. It's just weird, and you'll be like really tense. You'll be like grabbing on like that.
Yeah.
But you should sign up, man. Just get yourself down.
I've been offered. I got offered a free one, didn't I? But I don't know.
Just go. I've been down at AVT since 2018, 19. That's when I first met Danny Mitchell. He had Frank Mir down for a seminar. And
That's the first time I ever saw you, actually. And when I went on your profile yesterday, the video that you saw, the video that you filmed, I'm stood in the background of it.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Stalker shit, that, mate.
That's cool, that. Didn't know
Stalker
that. So, yeah, I started jiu-jitsu just after that because I just fancied trying it. And then, you know.
Did you do it from a standpoint of, I want the self-defense, or did you enjoy the sport?
I think a bit of both, really. I think I wanted to just understand what grappling was. So I were an MMA fan. You know, I watched the UFC. Obviously, everybody got into it with McGregor, the McGregor era. But I just fancied learning a little bit of it, and then you're really naive to it until you end up with like getting injured because it's just fucking plagues you with injuries. So that's one thing I've been trying to get around is like, how do you survive it?
Injured through the volume of training or getting hurt just doing the sport?
Doing the sport, like pressure on your neck, your joints. You know, you've got some people that you get to know a person by when you roll with them, you really get an understanding of them. They could be cool as a cucumber in real life, but they might have the biggest.
I think you probably gave me a bad first taste of it, if I'm honest, looking back.
Just put you off for life.
Because there were none of this warming up stuff. It would just strangle me out for about 15, 20 minutes and then go home and, question life. Really. And that's pretty much what happened for me.
Yeah. you probably
I was like, yeah, I'm all right with that. I'll stick to rugby. I'll stick to weights.
You probably feel better about it going into a beginner's class where everybody else is pretty new.
Yeah.
But that's the benefit of it. Everybody starts at a white belt. It's time dedicated to it. It gets you a little bit further.
How long did it take you to get your blue belt?
4 years, just less than 4 years.
Nice.
And then I got like the blue belt curse of, I think I got it in I got it on Valentine's Day, February 22, and then in April tore my LCL. So I was then out for probably a year. So that was taking us to the middle of last year, and then I would start doing privates again middle of last year up through till Christmas, and then I'm back now.
You're sticking out now then?
Yeah. But mentally, it fucking broke me because I was like on a roll. I'm like, I'm doing well here. And then I completely fucked my knee up. And you go, was it worth it? Because I'm not a competitor. Mm-hmm. And, you end up getting fat and depressed. And I've just become a dad. It was like, everything was just hard work.
Yeah, it's no joke tearing your ACL, so you're out for a long time there.
Yeah, it was legit. And that was just doing stupid shit. It's easy done. You zig when you should have zagged. You turn left when you should have turned right. And it just goes pop. It doesn't feel that bad to start with, and then you get home and you go, "Oh, it's bad that," and then a couple of days pass and you go, "It's fucking really bad, is that?" And you start your legs wiggling a bit. But that's why you've got to pick your training partners wisely and just fucking hope for the best.
Why you just get some people there who just want to just hurt you?
Oh, there's people who want to take your arms, your legs, fucking everything home with you. Especially it tends to be littler guys. Well, it might be sort of stereotyping, but littler guys tend to have more of a.
Let me get this big guy out of the way here.
Yeah.
Makes sense, really. In
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I just think some people, just in general, just in the when they know they're better than you. Like I rolled with a guy. It was sound, to be fair to him. I rolled with a guy last week when I went training, and one of them where he just lays on his back and he's just waiting for you to step in, like annoying. And then as soon as I got in, he'd just catch me with anything he could and just tightened it, snapped it straight on. I'm like, fucking hell, mate. Just cause he was clearly better than me, probably like a purple belt or whatever.
Yeah.
Just if you've tapped me out once quite easily. Now just let me get to a different position and then just sweep me, but he just kept fucking snapping triangles on and fucking head and arm chokes, and I was like,
James Smith said you just want to be 10% better than the person you're rolling
yeah,
with.
That's
like,
it.
So they give them a chance to work, give you a chance to work on your game, but unfortunately that's not.
Does that put you, even if you're better in sometimes bad situations, you can work out of them and learn? That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because you want to find yourself in bad situations. Like flow rolling's kind of cool for that because you'll naturally just flow into different positions that are a bit bad, but it's because they're not hammering it on for you. You can sort of think, well, what do I actually need to do here? Rather than sort of like panicking, you can go, like if you're like in turtle position and somebody's on the side, you can roll over your shoulder into sort of like a triangle, but you'd probably never do that if somebody were like putting pressure on the side of you. But if that's a way to get out of that, you can just sort of roll into it and go, oh, that one, it's not that intimidating. But again, flow rolling's an art in itself. Really.
Is jiu-jitsu just like a complete sport then? So I'm trying to understand, if he's just on his back, does that transition to real life? When in a fight, would you ever just sit on your back like that?
The thing is, if someone, it sounds silly because if someone's laid on the back there and you're wanting to fight with them, if you went over and what would you do if someone's laid there? What would
Well,
you,
anyone could volley him or chuck a brick at him or anything in a real life situation,
yeah,
couldn't
but
you?
if you're on the street, there's no bricks about. What you going to do? Kick his legs?
Yeah, probably not. And he probably was thinking, what the fuck are you doing?
No, as soon as you went to kick him or punch him, he'd just grab an ankle, or he'd just like grab. You'd go to punch him in the face, he'd just catch you in a triangle choke or something like.
I've been around a lot of street fights. I've never seen anyone do that. in my
No, but
life.
you haven't seen a purple belt on his back, mate. Ready for it?
It's more like if you got into a
I want you to do
scuffle-
that next street fight. I want you to just fucking start on your back.
Just start
Just
scooting up
start
to
on
him.
back.
if you got into a scuffle and you ended up on the floor,
It makes sense.
can you sweep them? Like,
Yeah.
basically, can you sweep them and get the fuck out of there? Like,
Right.
you don't want to be fighting with anybody on the floor.
Right,
'Cause
so
somebody will kick you in the head or throw a brick at you. But it comes like we were in a nightclub in Manchester. This was a few years ago, and this is the made up story. But like a couple of lads had come up because I was in Navy for 8 years. So one lad had come from Scotland, two had come from Cornwall. We met in Manchester, and we were in Peaky Blinders. We're only about 11 o'clock. And this big fucking roidhead, right, 2 bottles in his hands, came storming through dance floor. And we weren't that, like, weren't that drunk, but we had a couple of drinks. And he barged into my mate, like his Scottish mate, Ryan, barged into him and like sort of knocked him over. So Ryan sort of went, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm not kidding, mate, like this short elbow just dropped my mate on the floor. And I was like,
What, he dropped your mate?
yeah? This is like on the dance floor in Peaky Blinders. And I looked ridiculous because I had like
Just so I understand it, I like to dissect these fights a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit. So we've got a big juice monkey,
Yeah.
potentially charged up.
Yeah.
He's barged him. You can't be well, do we agree there? Like, how close were he when he said, "What you doing?"
it was like
And how instantaneous were the elbow?
very quick. So much so that I think this roidhead were like a fighter.
All right.
Because it was so clean, he dropped my mate like on the floor holding his jaw. So then my other mate went in to try for a punch, and he dropped him as well. I'm like, fuck it out.
not ideal.
So I went over and he went to punch me, and I arm dragged him and just put in a rear naked choke and put him to sleep. But I looked ridiculous because I had like a tanned tight top on.
Nice.
And we'd been in like Revs de Cuba before with a lei, like a Hawaiian lei. So I looked like a right.
Well, you had that on?
I had a lei on.
We get a picture of this.
There'll be a picture. But I literally wrapped him up around his neck and just got hold of him. And I'd only been training a couple of years at this point, but it was it was like instinctual to just do an arm drag, because like if you miss the punch, just arm drag and you're straight there and just put him to sleep. And I was like,
And what do you do where your men who were lost on floor though? You just get the fuck out of there.
They stood straight back
Oh,
up, and
sound.
then bouncers came over because bouncers came over and they're like, let go of him. I'm like, I can't let go of him, not yet. And then put him to sleep and went out there.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And lads were like,
Well, that makes sense for that sort of
lads were like,
situation,
oh,
doesn't
fucking
it?
ninja shit. And
That's yeah.
And I was terrified. I'm like, what if he's dead? But that was the only like one time where I've gone, that's really fucking
Was there
useful.
any follow up from that when he's just been choked unconscious?
I bailed me. They
Yeah,
were like,
smart.
get the fuck out.
Yeah, that's the
like,
one to do, innit?
So yeah.
To be fair, they can't even really press chat. I mean, they could because you put your hands on them, but the guy fucking or unconscious after what did he do? I just choked me. Have you got any marks? No. Any injuries? No.
No.
Sweet.
And that were a made up
I
story.
won't be,
That was just
I won't
for
be
the
thinking
podcast.
about. I won't be thinking about the repercussions. I'll be more like, is he wanting revenge? You
Well,
just choked him out, and he's just been elbowing and punching your mates.
I think last thing you want him once
give
you've
him a
been-
quick cat
Once
nap.
you come round on a dance floor, and you're like, what the fuck just happened to me? Then I think last thing you want is revenge when someone just choked you out.
Yeah,
But,
probably
like, if
probably
you've been
alive
choked
now.
out on the mats as well, it's like it's quick, man.
Yeah.
Like if the blood stops, and then it'll have flashed back up, and that'll have been it.
Yeah, probably forget, and you forget.
Yeah, yeah.
Like what the fuck? Who were I rolling with then?
But it's such a like that's like one useful element of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like if you just know a little bit more than Joe Public, you're all right, And then you've got black belts, they're just ninjas.
Yeah.
So
Were you Merchant Navy or Royal Navy?
So I was in the Royal Fleet Auxiliary, which is an arm of the Royal Navy.
Right.
So I was in from 2010 to 2018. So what we were signed up as civilians under the Reserve Act. So basically, if you went to war, they'd transfer you over to like a commission or to whatever it would be. But in that time, we were more active than the Royal Navy because the fleets were shrinking. So like my first trip were to Libya. So we were on an ammunition ship that went to Libya, then went to Syria, then went to Falklands. So like all my trips were like active because none of the Royal Navy ships were down there. So we had an Apache helicopter on back of our ship on the first tour.
That's sick.
So it was cool, man. I got to travel the world and.
I was in Navy for from
Oh, so you know the RFA then?
yeah. I do. I don't know anybody else in it. Like, but
Yeah.
from 2012 to 2017, I were on submarines now.
Wow, you're a weird dude,
Yeah, I know.
And when,
He's a
when,
weird guy.
when everybody said to me, I might go on submarines, I'm like, fucking hell, they're a different breed then.
The worst thing is though, I got fucking blagged into joining submarines when I went to AFCO. I want to be a weapons engineer on ships. So like, oh, I'll tell you what, mate, I'll give you a tip. Join as a submariner. Once you get into your phase 1, they say to you, do you want to change over? Just say yeah. So like, oh, sound. Did it. Got to like my last week's training. Right. Does anybody want to transfer over? I said, yeah, please. Went, what to? And I was like, weapons engineer on ships. They went, what, you know? I said, submarines. He just started laughing. He was like, nah. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, if a guy on a ship wanted to go to submarines, that's sweet, but we don't let any submariners go. Now you're in. And I was like, for fuck's sake.
So you did 5 years on subs. What was that like?
It actually wasn't as bad as I expected. Like, I'm quite claustrophobic as well. If somebody locked me in like a car boot or a wardrobe or something, I'd be screwing. But have you been on one before?
I refused
like the rooms are like just as big as this.
Yeah.
And there's fucking loads of them on a submarine. You can't, when you're deep, you can't really feel it moving much. It just stinks. There's no fresh food or clean water, and it's just like,
yeah,
it is what it is. But
like with the Syria stuff, we had SBS on our, because we had some like landing ships, so we had alt Royal Marines and SBS, so they were doing exercises all the time, and there were an option for us to go over and just, you know, go on a sub and dive. And I was like, no way, man.
Should have done it, man. It's like it's a good experience, to be fair. It's weird.
There was no part of me that wanted that
Yeah,
experience.
I'm the same as that. You don't want to be under there, do you?
Now, all I thought though is like barely ever do submarines, apart from the one that did it
Last year.
Like,
Yeah, he'd made it in his shed, though, hadn't he? What was that called?
That Titanic one?
Yeah, the
Which
Titan-
imploded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Risky business.
Yeah, I won't be going on that one, but like the proper Royal Navy ones are pretty sick.
That's mad as if you were in subs.
Yeah, man.
Fucking hell. From subs to OnlyFans, like some transition. That.
Well, to be fair, at my back end of my year, leaving the Navy, I started doing cock pump videos on YouTube for like a company,
Cock pump.
like promoting a penis enlarger business.
Bath mate is called.
And then my captain found out about it, pulled me in office, and is like, I've heard you doing this.
You see it on YouTube?
You know what? Yeah, we're on YouTube, and
No, but did he see it
Well,
on
no,
YouTube?
because what happened was I also went on X Factor. So I went on X Factor. Then it came out that I did the YouTube videos, because when I put the YouTube videos out, even though it got like 20 million views, my name wasn't on it, so nobody knew it was me.
Yeah.
I mean, they did have like tattoos, and they started putting two and two together. Then it went out on X Factor, and then it all came out. Then Navy found out about it, so I got fucked for it. But
That's fucking nuts. This is a right story. Have you told this story on your podcast before?
I've probably, bro.
Yeah, we're good
So,
on-
hold on, wait. Let's dissect this. So you were in the Navy, then you're selling cock pump video. What, on YouTube?
Yeah, so a guy
Just
around
like
here,
pixelate.
No, not Barola, would it?
still on it. Like,
Show me the video. Get the video.
It's false advertising, though, because I had a big Corey before. That's what I always felt with him. I felt they were reaching out to micro penis people and trying to get them to buy this bath mate, when in fact,
Bath mate.
can we say bath mate?
yeah, say bath, mate. Like, I don't know what channels these are on now, but like, these are just like fucking burner channels that have put it on. But
We're showing guest dick now, or what?
How's that on YouTube?
bro, I don't know.
No, it's
educational.
educational, because he did one as well, which I used to think was strange, but I never pulled him up
No,
on
this
it.
is definitely
Where
strange.
he would
I
just,
didn't expect to see your cock,
where he would
by the
just,
way.
it would
That's
just
a
like
fucking-
putting
that's a-
condoms on YouTube, like a tutorial thing. I was like, what the fuck's he doing here?
I basically got fucking. This is another one, mate. I got like scammed into doing this thing. So after they come out, I got this guy approached me. It's called, what's his name? It's called Rob Summit, and he's like,
Don't give his name.
No, he's a fucking weirdo, mate.
right.
So I've got to give his name. And he basically, well, like, he manages like shitty influencers that he just writes like fake stories, books fake paparazzi shoots, and just tries getting on Big Brother and shit. And he approached me after, like, oh, I'll do it different with you. I'll get you on Love Island. I'll do all this. And I thought, I was only young. I thought, fuck it, I've left Navy. I'll do whatever. I signed up with him, and he went, right, because you've done the YouTube videos, what I want to do is I want to get you on this morning, because they talk about like dicks and balls all the time. We can get you on there. That'll get you shown first. Then we'll get you on some show. So I'm like, oh, all right then. Just a young, naive kid. He's like, what we're going to do first, I'm going to book you in for a video shoot on how to put a condom on, and then you'll come down to the studio. I'm like, I don't really want to do that. He's like, oh, no, it'll all be blurred. It'll, like, we won't be in room. It's fine. So I went down to this thing. Gets me to sign a contract with him for 3 years. Promises me the world. There's him and this videographer then like, right, I can't remember how, like exactly how it went, but he basically wanted me to put this condom on. I said, I can't do it when you're here. Like, what do you want me to do? I said, set the camera up, leave the room. I'll watch a bit of porn or whatever, and I'll just do the filming. So I did it. He put the video out. That got millions of views. Didn't hear fuck all from him. Didn't get me any more work, but I had to pay him to get out of the contract again. So he'd basically got this free video out of me to get loads of millions of views for his YouTube channel. And then I had to pay him to get out of the contract that I'd signed, and got fuck all from it. And now it's still on there, and I can't get it removed.
What?
Yeah, fuck that guy.
In fact, I'm actually going to find his name. I'm going to call him out.
I didn't even know you could.
It's Wild West with him. If you peel the curtain back, there's a lot of wild shit going
That's
on.
fucking nuts. That I didn't even know you could put. I didn't know videos like that.
It's
were
got to
on
be
YouTube.
educational.
I didn't even think that.
Like putting a condom on, to be fair, is educational, so I'm surmising they just let it.
So what? You got sponsored by this dick pump company and just put your own videos out there?
Rob Cooper, you fucking prick. That's his name. No, yeah. So kind of, yeah. Just got sponsored by this company just to say like, will you do a series of cock pump events and just like show them what you measured at start and then what you measured at the end.
Nice testimonial.
Does it work? See, all we talk about is dicks and shit on my podcast. This would be funny to take back to my podcast.
What I will say is,
we can get you one.
I don't want
I can 100% get you one. No problem.
Adam might. Beard needs one, by the way. The little guy.
Well, I'll get Beard one, right? As long as he does a tutorial on YouTube and we get to put it on Fully Game. I'd say they definitely will work if you're consistent with them and use them every day, whereas I just used it for filming, so.
It's like a vasodilation
I'll
stretch.
Exactly what it does. You fill it with water, you use it in a bath. It's got like suspension at bottom or whatever. You push it down, it's all vacuumed, and then as it releases water out, it's got a non-return valve, so it doesn't let any in, and it obviously pulls pressure in, so it pulls all blood into your penis, which then makes your blood vessels expand, which then just makes it. It's like going to the gym and doing bicep curls. It puts blood in there.
Bicep curls for dick, a sales pitch.
That was it. I'm not even joking, bro. That was it.
That was the ad read. That's so funny. You know?
when I'm talking to Cam, I'm like, this is basically like a workout for your penis, and it's sold. So that's where we are.
That's
today,
where you made your
boys.
millions.
Yeah.
That's sick, that.
Now we're on YouTube. We might as well fucking dive into the life of content
let,
creating.
Let's go for this. Let's try and have a bit of a clip. How do we make our first £1,000,000 on YouTube? Come on. Let's aim high. How do we do that? We're building a channel. We're trying to build a following, an audience. We want to monetize it. Let's try and start from step A to step Z.
To make £1,000,000, I reckon, and I've not made £1 million, but I think if you're selling, if you've got a channel that's like, you've got to think of a lucrative niche. So what's going to pay the most advertising? It's like finance channels tend to have the most money. So if you're teaching people how to either save money, make money, set up ISAs, they make a lot of money because it's an affluent audience that are watching those channels. So the ad rates are higher. So like all channel ads are not equal, you know, like they're not.
What we talk about as is butchered as.
If you can be within a strict niche like finance, they might pay $30, $40 per 1,000 views, for example. But I think most advertisements is anywhere from like $5 to $10 per ad, or per 1,000 views. So I reckon finance, but you're probably going to make money from like selling the external stuff, so like sponsorships, courses, all of the extra stuff is where the money is. Everyone thinks you're going to make millions from just AdSense, from Google Ads. There's only like fucking Beard's the only unicorn that I know that's done that. He doesn't do sponsorships, but he gets like 3 million views a video. He's just passed 1 billion views on YouTube. So he's the only person that I know that's making good money, like really good money from ads. Everyone else is like, they have to do sponsorships. So I'd say like that's the direction to go.
So leaning into monetizing the eyeballs through external ways.
Yeah, I mean, that's what advertising is, isn't it? It's like if you've got an audience of people that watch this podcast, for example, and you can get it up to, I don't know, 10, 20,000 people listen each week, you might be able to sell ad spots for dick pumps at like £500 an episode. Well, if you're doing 4 a week, there's £2,000 for that one ad spot. Well, you could do 3 per show, so that's £6,000 a month, you know. And then you could do a Patreon where there's more money there, and you could have clips channels, and there's all different with live shows, merchandise. So you can start making money from it, you know.
Yeah.
We know what to do, like from our podcast. Like we know what you could do. We just haven't done it. Like,
would you ever build your own product to sell? Whether that be, keep it simple, whether it be a supplement line, T-shirts, whatever you sort of. Because you mentioned course as well there. Like you've got the AdSense, you've got the sponsorship, which is external.
Yeah.
I don't really know. We sort of just fell into this, didn't we? We were having a little go with it, but we were obviously anything we do, we want to sort of do to the best of his capability. Once you've built the attention, if we are good enough to build the attention machine, do you toy with owning something that you can sell to that audience, and if it's a correct match, if that makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you niche down this podcast into whatever capacity that it might be, you might be able to build a product that you can sell to that audience, and there's integrity with it.
Yeah.
You know, or you could go the other way and just have any old fucking ad on it and like, you know, sell somebody else's product.
Yeah.
But you then got to be careful. Like, you know, a lot of people were selling cryptos and NFTs and they all turned out to be dodgy, and then you lose your audience.
Yeah.
So like there's always a payoff and a cost. That's why Adam Beard doesn't do sponsorships now, because the cost is less people are going to watch, because they're going to be pissed off that for 60 seconds they'll come to watch a fella eat food, but for 60 seconds he's selling ball shavers, and they'll drop off. And then you look at like session time on your channel, content's promoted for the amount of time you keep one person on your channel. So like if you have 8-minute videos, rather than making one 30-minute video, you could make 4 8-minute videos. But if you go from one video to another, to another, to another, you've had a lot of session time on your channel rather than just having one longer video. So if you're then putting ads in it, people are going to drop out or skip. So there's always a cost. And we got invited down to Spotify last year.
I watched that vlog.
And it was so funny because we met this kid called I'm Alex. I probably don't know if I should say his name. Anyway,
We can blur that if needs be.
Nah, I don't even know what he does. I think he started off initially like as part of Jack Mate's Happy Hour podcast. I think he was one of the first hosts of that. Then he left, and he does like videos, I think mocking people or anyway. He signed up to a network, and then they just put ads on all his videos. So he started off doing like a few million views a video. But then as a agency's like, nah, you've got 2 ad reads or 1 ad read for every episode. Less people are that interested because like I'm fucking sick of seeing this.
Kills the flow, do you think?
Yeah, I'm sick of seeing this fucking Squarespace ad across all these different creators. So less people are that asked about watching it because they know they're going to get sold to. So he sort of admitted to me and Adam that he fucked it by signing up to this agency. So like, that's Adam's. I've learned a lot from him in the sense of if you've got the integrity with it and you can just stick it out, you'll likely see a better return. But if you wanted to cash in early and say that you've been signed to a network and all this sort of shit, then you can go down that route, but they have a say over what you
Do you
deliver.
feel there then that you've got to love the art first and foremost before you try and get into this and just think I'm going to rinse this for a business?
Yeah. I mean, the audience will know, like they can tell what your intentions are, I think. But like you said, there's nothing wrong with trying to make money from it. It's just you've got to do it the right way, I think. And like I said, we've not capitalized on our audience at all, which is sort of, it's good and it's bad because we still do other work for other clients. Whereas like we could just go all in on the podcast, but then Adam didn't want to sell out an audience at all. But he's made all his money, so it's kind of like, well, where do you?
How did you find the partnership of having a co-host? As his battles, done it?
I mean, no.
Just for context, I've never had a business partner in anything I've done.
Yeah,
I've always been self-employed, self-contracting. This is my client. I look after them.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some like ups and downs with it. I mean, it's like one of my first podcasts with Danny Mitchell. So we did a MMA show for like 2 years, and that was really good. We made no money out of it. We had a right laugh, and then COVID hit, and it sort of stopped. And then Beard came to me sort of probably just after lockdown. He's like, "Oh, I want to start a podcast." And at first I said, "No, I can't. I've got other shit I need to do."
Did you already know Adam at this time?
Yes, I met him pretty much day one of me starting my business. I was working at a motorbike shop in Batley called Gem Speed Shop. Do you know it?
No.
It's not. It's shut down now. He came in and did a burger challenge, and he had about 150,000 subscribers at the time. And we just got to know each other then, and we just sort of stayed in touch. And then now he's got fucking 3.5 million subscribers, But I've watched him go from from there to where we are now. And then even on the podcast, I think he went from maybe 2 years ago, he might have had just less than 1 million subscribers, maybe 1 million. And now, like I said, he's at 3.5 million. So
Respect.
It's fucking nuts to watch. It's just, fair play to him. He's just stuck it out.
It's just not knowing for me, not knowing the end play.
Well,
I'm a bit of a control freak, me, so I like to have things systemized and what is the game plan, what we're trying to achieve and do. But I think you've just got to love the art, me, and just get good podcasts out there.
Yeah,
and
I think the art of conversation is lost. So I think it's nice to be able to sit down and talk to people. And it's almost that, like, everybody that listens, they've got an opportunity to sort of get to know you personally because it's a personal thing, is listening to, obviously you've got the option to watch, but when you listen on Spotify or iTunes or whatever, it's much more personal, I think. But from day one, what we said was, it can't be a guest-led podcast because you fucked. And you'll have found this yourselves. If you go from Danny Mitchell, UFC veteran, BKFC fighter, to Jamie Peacock, rugby legend, that's not really a transferable audience. So, like, for us on day one, we were like, what are we going to talk about? What we're not going to talk about? We're going to be a comedy-based podcast, so like a light-hearted humour. We're not going to talk about politics. We're not going to talk about religion. This whole podcast needs to be an escape for people to just go and just escape from real life, 1 hour of just enjoyment. Then it's got to be us two, so the audience have to be there to listen to us. And now we have got a producer, George, who sits off in the background and he does talk. But we've had 2 other people before that. We had a guy called Mike and then my first editor called Liam. They're there like if we need to Google something, we'll talk to him. George is having.
Do you punish them if they speak too much?
No.
No, okay.
But it had to be us first because how are you going to build an audience that come back time and time
Fully
again?
agreed.
They need to be there for you two. And then the guest is just a nice to have. So then we had to be like, well, what are the topics? So we were like, we need to segment this podcast into bite-sized pieces that people can enjoy when it's sort of like rolling on. So we had like sections like we start every show with like YouTube comments. So we'll read out a few comments from subscribers. They get a shout out. We get to interact with them. Then we'll go into the main talking point. And within that, we've got like subtopics. So like when I just had a baby, I had like a father in fail section because something goes wrong every week. Baby falls off bed. Like,
God damn.
There's all sorts of mad shit. So you can talk about like, exploding nappies and like just the chaos of it because Adam ain't got a kid.
He says he's not going to change nappies.
No, I'm definitely going to change nappies. I've never changed a nappy, and I don't think I'll change anyone but my own kids.
I were exactly the same. Like I didn't know what to do, but then you've just got to muck in. Yeah. But like that, people are like, I can't believe you're talking about this. And it's like every parent has gone through this. Yeah. And even if you're not a parent, it's pretty funny to listen to somebody getting fucking shit in their eyeball. Like, so there's like a parenting fail section. Then we'd do like we'd do a breaking beard section where it's like it were like a multiple choice questions or like make it a bit game show. So if we had like 4 or 5 sections, we could build a show each week, that was different, that was funny. And it was like an enjoyable thing. And then we finish off with like a fess hole. Have you seen that on Twitter?
A what hole?
It's called fess hole. It's like it's like confessions. It's like anonymous confessions.
I've listened to some of it.
Fucking ridiculous.
So these really good then, like good idea.
So I spotted fess hole on Twitter. I'm like, this has got to be a section. So we finish every podcast with fess holes. And before you know it, you've got a show there. So people know what to expect. It's an hour long. And then if we get a guest, how do we make them fit into our show? So we don't make it their show. It's like you fit into our show. So that comes with its pros and cons because we had some competitive eaters on and they're like, why are you not like interviewing him like traditionally? And it's like, because they're fitting into our show. It's not like we're not an interview podcast. But that's took trial and error over like 2.5 years.
I feel with the guest as well, if it's easy with someone like yourself who I've known for a while, but if you get a guest on and you're not feeling it that day, that's a huge component to the conversation going well. If you're just not feeling up for a conversation that day.
Yeah.
I could come and sit and talk to Ellis. He could come to my house 24 hours a day and we'd be able to sit and talk. But a guest, it's a different dynamic for me because we lent more into needing to be almost like an interview style.
But that's the benefit of having the pair of you because you can both work with each other to get the best out of that person. Yeah. And if the person's not giving it back to you, you can sort of persevere through it and then decide.
And you can just go back to fine. We'll just talk about our little bit then as well.
And then decide.
I think that's a fair point with what we do with our guests, isn't it? That?
Let's fucking believe this. We're not cutting room floor. Do you know what I mean? Like that's fair fucks as well.
Would you say it's a good idea though to like I don't know how much prep you put into your podcast? Prep like as in be prepared for the moments where your guests might not be the best talker, so we can still talk to each other and prep to bring the best out of whoever your guest is.
100%, yeah. So like all my I have an iPad in front of me for the guest podcast. I used to have it for every episode, but I don't anymore.
Off cam or on cam?
On camera. What? We've lost the light.
That's just your light, Josh. Off your camera.
Yeah. Before every episode, I'll write the show notes out. Then I'll speak to George, who does the producing, and he'll add bits into it. And I'll go, right, that's the show. Like that's the body of it. We're going to go work from. Now I've just give the show notes to George. So it gives him an opportunity to talk more, but I can remember when it's me and Adam, I can remember what the show is going to be. When I've got guests on, I've got a pretty comprehensive list of questions. So like James Smith, I knew I wanted to cover jiu-jitsu, steroids, fighting. He's just brought out a new, what do they call it? I want to say like a supplement drink. It's like productivity.
He's brought the Chris Williamson.
Him and Chris Williamson, like it's called New Tonic. The first productivity drink. I wanted to talk about that. And then it naturally led down other avenues like why he's a personal trainer. Why is Adam not fat? He eats fucking 10,000 calorie meals. So like I had loads of questions. So that we're never going to run out. All we're going to do is run out of time. Mm-hmm. But every one of them, that if you look at it as a clip on YouTube, it's good. It's going to be
makes sense.
It's going to bang. Has Conor McGregor been on steroids? He's like fucking goes deep into it. He's like, well, of course he has. He's just
100%.
Yeah, he snapped his leg in half. Plus size models, what do you think? And he's like, plus size models. Victoria's Secret tried to go down this path, and then they saw the profits drop, and they immediately pivoted back. Fucking cliff there, and that's not exploiting. It's the game, man. He was like a salesman. He knew exactly what needed to be said to get the clip because he makes content.
That's the thing as well. Sometimes when you don't have people who are that way minded, as in they're not a content creator, they can't really tell what you're not going to have to sit down and have that conversation and say, by the way, some of these questions we're going to ask you are probably going to turn into quick clips, so make sure you elaborate on them, because then it puts pressure on them. So if you just expect them to do it, and sometimes they're not capable of it, because some guests we get fighters and whatever. So sometimes we don't get guests who can actually answer questions that are clip worthy, not putting it on the guest. But
but I think that's when, like, you as an interviewer, you can press, because you've got nothing to lose, have you? Like, if they're dancing around questions, just ask. You know, and they're likely, especially under the bright lights and cameras, they're gonna bail. They're gonna tell you, you know, right, we've got it. And that's not in a way exploiting them. It's like it's in their best interest to come across the best way possible. Yeah. So it's just it's a dance in it. Like, that's the art form.
Do you see it more as a show versus a long form conversation then?
Before you answer that, let me just check this light.
Yeah.
Seeing it. So like if I was to give context of why I did it, but I've got to learn the show element.
Yeah.
And I've got to learn what gets views. You've got to play the game a little bit. Versus just being a long form conversation. Do you not feel there's an audience for that eventually you can bring into that, who's not having to sort of be segmented through doing this skit, this show, this bit, who just want to lock into some sort of long form?
I think you're going to struggle to convert people because, like, we're living like the TikTok world. So why would anybody sit and listen to you two for 2 hours when they don't know you from Adam? Like, you need to give them a reason to come. And that's where, like, clips are really good. Because if you've got segments that they can go, that were interesting. If you take an 8-minute clip of this conversation and put that onto a separate channel and they go, that was good and that banged,
right,
I might go back and watch the full show. In every episode, you're going to have fucking 10 clips. So just rattle them out, you know.
And they have to live on a separate channel, not on the main channel.
So this is, you look at the big guys, Chris Williamson, you look at Stephen Bartlett, they all put it on the same channel, believe it or not. I prefer it being on a separate channel, but I think we've been so we've got 2 channels. We've got one with 25,000 subscribers and we've got one with 12.5. So it's literally half the amount. They're both done the same amount of views. So, like, lifetime views, they've both done the same. So there is a carryover. But what we have found is that the main show gets amazing comments. Super supportive. They're the fucking OGs, the fans. The Clips channel is like the Wild West, man.
Okay.
The comments, because that goes to, like, it seems to go to a different audience, so they're fucking horrible. So, like, you've got to have your Weetabix on a morning before you read the comments on the Clips
Do
channel.
you read all your comments?
On the main channel, yeah. Don't read them on the Clips channel because it
could upset you.
It wouldn't upset me and it wouldn't upset Adam, but it'd upset most people.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I think when you're in this space, you've got to be all in, right? So you're all in.
Yeah.
Accept what's going to come because people are going to talk shit. You know, like, that's just going to happen.
You ever comment them back?
Nah.
Send location. I'll bring gum shield.
I'll bring ghee.
Would you comment back?
I've got a tendency to buy.
You've got to talk him out of it, Ellis.
It don't bother me. Like, they could say whatever the fuck they want about me, and I won't really get offended by it. It's just when fucking idiots say stupid stuff, or if, like, someone says, like, oh, I'll fucking... What did that guy say? Something about fighting with me? And I'm just like, well, where are you?
Yeah. But it's going to happen, innit? I mean, like...
It is going to happen.
You could say that and just be like, I'll be at AVT on, you know...
Yeah.
Because that'd be funny. Like,
yeah,
you might
definitely.
turn up.
I think that's what I need to do. Just, like, comment back and just... You put a good comment to someone on the Instagram page. I can't remember what you said. Someone, like, gave us some shit.
Try and kill him with kindness, me a little
Yeah.
bit. Try and use a bit of smarts, like,
Yeah.
because they're fishing for something. They're wanting a bite, aren't they?
Yeah.
They've watched your stuff, so they give you the view, and then for them to comment,
See, we don't reply to any comment.
don't you?
No, which...
Does that not help the algorithm? Or is it bullshit?
I mean, it probably would, but we just haven't got time. Like, it could come across as rude, but, like, there could be 300 comments per episode that goes out, you know, and then on the clips there could be 100 more. You can't reply, and then like Adam's got, you know, he's got fucking 400,000 Instagram followers and 3.5 million YouTube subscribers.
He just can't keep with
He
it.
can't keep up with it. You know, like he blank deletes like his request folder on a daily basis because he gets that many DMs on Instagram. And like even the people, like you wouldn't believe the people that's DM'd him has just gone, bye. Benny Blanco, fucking bye. Like some massive names, bye. Chuck Liddell, bye.
What they're trying to ask from him?
To collaborate, to even just to like, you know, enjoy your shit. But if you imagine like the mental
don't take
capacity,
brain space.
you can't. That's what you'd.
Why
fucking
don't you
go-
just employ someone cheap who can just liaise
like-
with all that? Can't be asked.
He just don't need to. He's like a unicorn, mate. He's just
Yeah.
he's his own fucking weird person, and he does it all himself, which is not, he ain't got a team, he's just him.
That's mega.
I like that.
Yeah.
Seeing as you asked the question on how to make your first million, what main 5 things would you say you need to create a successful YouTube channel?
A niche. So you definitely need to pick a niche and you need to stick to it. You need to know exactly who your audience is as well that you're going to speak to. So that, like, it's probably a good exercise for this. You know, like when I said before about, we knew that it needed to be comedy based with we're not going to talk about politics or religion, and they need to be there for us first. And once we've sort of got them like ticks, you can go, right, does it fit? Does that fit with that? Like, that's our goal. That's our North Star. So that's what I'd say. You need to have a brand. So like you want to, I think you do want to have like a color scheme or a brand that's recognizable that you can look at it straight away and go, all right, yeah, that's that podcast or that's that channel. Diary of a CEO, you know, like you see a Diary of a CEO thumbnail, you know it's the Diary of a CEO. What's that? 3 of them there. I don't know if I could do 5. I think just patience as well.
Yeah.
And also go all in. You can't fucking pussyfoot around it. You know, like I was shitting myself doing it to start with, and I was shitting myself when I went the first trip to Octagon. I'm cage side with all these fighters. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? But I was like all in at that point. I'm doing behind the scenes vlogs of the event. So I've got to get in the mix, talk to the fighters, talk to the owners, talk to the media. And who the fuck am I? I'm just a lad from Heckmondwike, you know, and you know, I've had no media training. I've carved myself a path to that point. I'm fucking here now. So, and then I presented on Channel 4, you know, for Octagon Manchester. Who the fuck, like a year before that, I'd not done anything, you know, apart from my podcast, but all of that had led up to that point. So if you're there, just fucking go all in. And I think that's it really.
The niche thing, mate, go on. Sorry.
I was going to say, I prepped that question and I wrote 5 things down for mine, and I think it was very similar, like niche.
I think the elephant in the room is also making good content in it.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah,
that gets forgotten about sometimes, the actual art of it.
I had consistency, thumbnail, title, hook, and niche. I think they would have been my 5. Like,
Yeah.
how important do you think the thumbnail is?
It's the most important. So this is one for you.
It's crazy.
And also on top of that, do you ever use AI for your thumbnails?
I don't personally, but ours is pretty simple stuff. So I did this before we came today. So I'll send it to you afterwards. So this is yours from the Jamie Peacock.
Yeah.
And then you've got this one, there's a guy called Damien Talks Money. He's been on our podcast, he's a mate of ours. Look at them 2 thumbnails. Look, which one are you going to click on?
Yeah, left.
And they were literally next to each other on the algorithm.
Ellis is sacked now.
So you don't need to say fully game.
Right.
It just doesn't need
Just
to be
take
there.
space up.
Jamie Peacock's horrendously underexposed. So like he needs to be as visible as this dude here. The words, there's probably a few too many characters there. Like that's 3 characters. Like that stands out, you know. And then the title, Jamie Peacock, Life After Rugby. You could probably do a better title than that.
Would you have elaborated on it?
What's the hook? You know, like Jamie.
See, this is the thing for the podcast. We didn't really have a hook for it, so
Yeah, but I mean, like if he talks about life after the podcast, you could talk about, you know, like I've not listened to the podcast, but it was like how hard it is after rugby. You know, like that's the sort of thing you need to elaborate on. Is like what's going to cause people to click, you know, and it's not clickbait. It's just like you've got to be really. They're the most important things, title and thumbnail, because that's like you don't judge a book by its cover, except on YouTube you only judge it by its cover. So like it's so important that you get that right. Even if you look on our channel, on the Clips channel, it looks completely different to the main episodes. But they're like 2 examples there where they're very similar color schemes, but one's done really well and one's not done well at all. So and don't be scared to not worry about like the not getting fully game everywhere, you know, like it'll come, you know, it don't matter. And then just have one thing on the channel. So I know you do vlogs and stuff as well. Put the vlogs on a different channel. And that you'll start seeing it should pick up a bit more. And you'll see which ones work and which ones don't work, and you can sort of like test against them. But it was funny that I thought I'll have a quick look today, and it popped up on my subscription feed. They were both next to each other. I'm like, oh, perfect. Like so I mean, as another example, we do work for this Rolex dealer. So if you look at his thumbnails, like he's the star of the show, but we've got the watch as like the hero.
Yeah.
Is the new Rolex Platinum Daytona worth the money? You're like, we're asking a question. And
It's almost like a searchable term, like a Google searchable term.
Yeah.
If you were searching Rolex, that'd probably pop up.
yeah. I mean, that
Especially
one.
if you're into watches as well.
Yeah. So like these are all the stuff that we do day in, day out that we can transfer over to our.
Like the easy thing for clickbait there with Jamie would have been that picture of him holding Willie Mason when backhand's cocked.
Yeah.
We don't need that because then people might think, well, that's the video that they're going to watch.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's from your podcast, it looks very much like a Diary of a CEO thumbnail. Does that one?
That's pretty much what that's where the inspiration's from.
But, increase the exposure so you can see his face, put the words next to it, make sure the words that are on the thumbnail don't match the title. They've got to be different because there's no point repeating yourself. And that's what like Stephen.
It's so weird to me, all this.
And
I get it, but
it makes total sense. It's just like...
Yeah, but...
Because like, way I see it is like, what's point in putting all of the effort in?
So true.
You've paid all this money for all this equipment. You've got a set. You've come and you put all the effort into talking to people.
Yeah.
And you fail. You fall at the last hurdle, which is the most important one. Like you put all the effort into the guest and having the best conversation. Get some eyes on it, and that's the only way you're going to get eyes on it. And because that is just the most important thing.
It's the niche thing as well that I'm struggling to like comprehend the most because we like to get different people on.
Yeah.
Josh likes to get like business people that we can learn from and like the business subscribers can learn from. I like to get like OnlyFans girls on fighters, sportsmen, and then it's just like you don't want to fuck everyone else off and just choose one sort of.
Yeah, but it's marketing, isn't it? If you try to be like everyone to everything, if you try to be like
everything to
everyone, you get no one. So you've got to. And again, like we've had Danny Mitchell on twice, right? And we spoke once about fighting, and the other thing we spoke about completely different. So like these people they've all got, even though their brand might be X, they can come into whatever your conversation needs to be. But again, that's why you want it to be people coming for you first, I think.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So what niche are we picking, Josh?
This is the thing for me. It's like if you, I'm not. Who am I to disagree with that? Because I've built no viewership up. But can't you be the niche if that makes sense?
No.
But why does Rogan work then? And why is the
Yeah, but he's the fucking
he's the
Godfather,
It's just
isn't
it
he?
for so long.
Yeah. But like so Adam's a good example. Beard meets food. All he does on his channel is eat fucking food.
Yeah.
3.5
Yeah, but the
million.
only thing with that, take them. If we're having an actual debate with the boys here, discussing that, and he's made millions, no doubt. I won't want to do that for my living though, just to be niched into a video each week.
Yeah,
It just feel like a job for me. Then that's not really what I got into it for.
But maybe Beard actually enjoys it.
No doubt. He'll love his art form. That's what he does.
And that's like
We've
that
probably
was
got to find ours.
that was his skill to start with. So, but my point was that 3.5 million people subscribe to his YouTube channel. Millions of people each week will tune in. So like every episode, he might do 2 or 3 million views within a couple of days. 2 or 3 million people don't come watch the podcast because they don't give a fuck about Adam. They care about Adam in that particular setting, doing that particular activity because they enjoy watching the art of food. They're not that arsed about Adam as a person. That's how brutal the audience is. And he's got a following, so like you look at these people that are like massive personalities, but he doesn't try. Jake Quickenden, he's got 1.2 million Instagram followers. I didn't see 1.2 million people in Manchester Arena.
True.
Paul Smith, amazing comedian, 900,000 Instagram followers, sold 250,000 tickets last year, is going to sell over 1 million this year. 4,000 people came to watch him fight. No one gave a fuck about him as a fighter. No one gave a fuck about Jake as a fighter. So like, and these are people that have already got an audience.
Agreed.
So like, you've not got an audience now. So how the fuck are you gonna get an audience without finding the first thing that even gets you there? What gets you to the party?
Do you think more lean into entertainment for us? Surely that's the way, innit? Do you not think?
I'd say so. It's what I enjoy. I enjoy entertaining people. I enjoy sitting down having conversations and learning from people. But like, no offense, but these conversations we could have not on camera and we'd still have a good quality conversation and learn from each other from it. Whereas I'd like to sit down, and I know that most of my viewers would like to find like you do with your podcast, be entertained, funny stories, see funny stuff. So it's one of them things where we're gonna have to have a proper sit down and fully niche up.
If your audience is there for you, and what are they there for? Mostly like the fight.
I'd say it's mostly fighting. Would you say
100%? If you looked at the growth of his channel from people like Danny Christie,
Yeah.
Anthony Holmes, we got behind the BKFC a little bit.
Yeah.
That's pretty much where it stemmed from, yeah.
Because that makes sense. Like if you niche down into that world, you can always that would mean that don't get Jamie Peacock on your channel. Don't get I wouldn't bring anything anyway. But even like Beard Meets Food, there's no point in bringing him on your channel because it'd be about fighting and he ain't gonna fuck all about fighting. So you've got to be really then selective, but make it as easy as possible for yourself as well. So like if you're going to talk about fighting, segment it up. You know, what shows are coming up, what are you going to talk about specifically about fighting, get fighters on, give them a platform. That's, I mean, like True Geordie, like he sort of niched down into that world, didn't he?
Yeah.
Who the fuck, why him? You know, but he's done it.
James English probably went down that crime sort of storied route.
Yeah. So you can see that they've all done it, apart from the fucking gods at the top, Rogan.
Do you think is it running a gauntlet then though, once you've built the following through the niche, that if you actually was wanting to go into making content that you want to make?
Well, yeah, I think Stephen Bartlett and Rogan are prime examples of that, really, aren't they now?
Yeah. Like if you can build up enough of an audience, then I'm sure you can.
I tell you who I've been watching who I'm fascinated by. I don't even play golf. Jimmy Bullard,
Right.
and Tubes. I don't know if you've seen their YouTube channel. Outstanding what they've done.
But that's it. But like, just because you're interested in that, your audience might not
But
be.
I went for Jimmy though. So see, I didn't go for the golf. I went for because I like Bullard and soccer.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's he doing with this golf thing? He's got me now as Jimmy.
Yeah.
Because he's banter around. I'm not a golf player or anything like that, but I'm like, that's good conversation. That it's like, you say you're getting an hour escapism. That's what that sort of show gives me.
And that's that has worked for transferring you over. You might be like 1 in 100 that's done that.
Yeah.
And that you'll find that it'll be reciprocated onto your channel, but you need to pick what this is, you know, like just sort of stick to that.
What the fuck is it? But we don't know. I just sort of got into it to begin with. Mine were probably more personal development, business. Selfishly, it was a networking tool.
Yeah.
I get to meet people like you, and then I get to meet this person. Mine were a marketing tool to start with.
Yeah. I mean, I'm same as you though. Like that's the reason why I've only got like less than 8,000 followers on Instagram. You know, like because my Instagram's a fucking right tram smash. It's like behind the scenes of shooting. I'm with Beard. I'm with I'm Middleton. I'm at Octagon. Like no one's got a fucking clue what's going on, and that's a prime example of. But I don't need to grow on Instagram I've got a successful business.
Yeah.
You know, but all my clients, they've got the strict niche to be in, and that's why the podcast that there's 25,000 25,000 followers on the YouTube channel, multiple million views on that Clips channel, and then there's 9,000 Instagram followers, but they've not transferred over to my Instagram because like in that world, I am just that. I am the host of that show, having a laugh, having a good time, me and Adam, and that's where it lands. Like they're not that asked to come over to my Instagram, and that's probably a good example of, you know, of just within this world of Fully Game, that is what you should be. And the Fully Game is the star of the show. If that Instagram's the platform, YouTube is the platform, like that's the channel that you go into. And then your personal ones can be a bit more OnlyFans or a bit more business or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's not what brought you together, you know.
Interesting.
So
Something to think about that.
You'll have to have like a suck on DMT pen and just try and figure it out.
So he's drugs with him,
Bro, I haven't touched a drug in too long now.
isn't it?
I'm like 90 days. In a week's time, I'm 90 days, no weed. My 2024 goals are no alcohol, no caffeine, no nicotine.
What a boring existence, eh?
Bro, you don't
existence.
need nicotine and fucking alcohol and caffeine to be exciting, do you?
Don't need. I want it.
That's the thing now.
It depends though. Like it's a good challenge, isn't it, to set yourself? And if you're having a kid, and I reckon you'll go back onto caffeine after having a kid.
Honestly, caffeine don't affect me
Did I?
like how it should do really now.
Right.
So I just did that because I like the taste of it, and it's just like,
But
should we have a coffee?
Yeah, he's
Just
drinking
one of
Nescafe instant. He needs to get some
Oh,
premium. He needs
yeah.
to get some
No,
premium.
but bro,
beer.
even when you make me like proper coffee at yours, like I like the taste of it, and I do get a little bit of a kick, but then I'll just go and it's like, it don't give me no crazy energy.
That's when you have another.
That's when it becomes an issue, though, bro. And then nicotine. I used to have the snus. We had the snus parcels for a little bit.
Oh, I saw some fighters with that in Manchester. I'd only ever seen like in America, you know,
Upper
people
Deckies,
like
Tobacco and shit.
yeah, but I'd never seen people at UK doing it until really recently.
Yeah, I think it's pretty new. And I do like them. They do get a buzz. They make me focused on stuff,
yeah.
but it's a bad vice I didn't need. And then alcohol, I only drunk like 5-6 times last year. So
Yeah, nothing good comes
me
from
to-
drinking alcohol. I'm not
no.
a big boozer, man.
The only thing that happens when I drink alcohol is more bad choices.
yeah.
So
He's like laid on his back in Biggie's, just trying to entice someone into guard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not good.
What so you guys make your money separately, but you want this to be your you want the podcast.
If you want the actual real thing of what happened, started doing a bit with Anthony Holmes and Ellis jumped on first one.
Yeah.
He was going to do an OnlyFans specific niche one, which probably would have made more sense now you've just character assassinated his podcast.
I don't.
No. So I understand his thinking now that, right, OnlyFans girls, they know what to expect, tits, ass, getting pussy pounded. I get all that stuff, right? But we just sort of, you know, like kitchen sessions when you party. I used to love stuff like that, mate. So let's just go back to MCAT days. If you really, like my friend Johnny Gray came around yesterday. We had a bit of a smoke and we sit and talk for 2 hours. That's what I like to do.
Yeah.
Whether other people like to listen to that is something that I'm got to be open to listening to.
Yeah.
So he's into personal development, training, looking after himself, business, making money. He's into a lot of the things that I'm into. So my idea was, I always were interested in documenting that, but never figured out how to do that. Like I was in network marketing, so people sort of looked up to me a little bit like, he's done all right in this, let's follow him. But from listening to you, and I've probably known this for a while now, the fact of the matter is they need to know what they expect when they're watching Fully Game. They're not coming to listen to Josh Maskell or Ellis Lacey. They're coming to sort of buy into a show almost. That's what I'm sort of taking away from this.
Yeah, and it's like once with every podcast that we put out as well, we put like a teaser at the beginning, so like a 1 minute teaser, sound bites, clips, you know, and then a super short intro, which is like it's like a little sting, a little sound bite, and then we'll get straight into it. You know, you can often fall foul of asking for like subscribers and stick around for long. Like, people are switched off. Like, if you're doing that,
if someone does that, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I get why he's doing it because we're enticing him, but if I'm tuning in to listen to your vlog, I want you into the action.
And if you watch like even James Smith, so James Smith has been on a cohort of, there's a guy called Ed Lawrence, and he runs a page called, it used to be called Business Film Booth, it's called Film Booth now. He sort of teaches people how to make engaging content, and them days have gone of like asking for subscribers and intros and all that. It's like as soon as it presses play, it's like a hook and you're just straight into it, and before you know it, you've watched 8 minutes and your head's fallen off because it's just information, and then at the end it's not even like they conclude it, it'll just stop and it'll go on to the next video and you're just like, what the fuck's just happened?
But I hate that.
But
this is what I'm saying, you're buying into the, but look at it from bigger picture, right? I'm not saying this is right or wrong. You want people who can listen to people at length who are giving some form of information that can benefit them. If you're feeding into this TikTok, what's it called?
Like
TikTokification of the world. Well, no one's benefiting from that. I'll sometimes, if I'm searching on YouTube and there's 5 minutes and they even explain the thing, like fucking explain the thing to me. Like get into what you're getting into. I'm torn between growing the channel and actually making something that I want to make and then build. It's nowhere near the finished product here, but working on what that needs to become.
So that's what I'd probably say, like work on what Fully Game is, but like you've already got all the equipment and the kit and the skills and the assets to still do an OnlyFans version of this. So like, you know, pick a different name, but do that as well, you know, because you've got the audience there. So like that's where, you know, when you said about like you can capitalize on it, like this can be your thing. The Fully Game podcast can be what this is, you know, a conversation with people you find interesting for you to learn and the audience to sort of sit in the room and be there with you. But then you could do a business specific one. You've got the set, you've got the equipment. So you do a business specific one, you do an OnlyFans one, or a fight, you know, like you've still got those options because you've got all the equipment. You're just sort of learning and sort of.
And do these, again, sorry for the questions, do these live on different channels?
Yeah.
Or can you not live it under one brand?
It's got to be on a different channel.
Different channel.
You could do it under, but that's what like networks are, isn't it? You could do it under.
Like Fully Game could be the Channel 4, but Channel 4 has different programming inside. Does it not work like that on YouTube?
So there's a studio in America called Your Mama's House, run by like Tom Segura.
Yeah.
So that channel, Your Mama's House Studios, has got about 4 different comedy podcasts on there. So they're completely different offerings, but they're all under the comedy niche, you know, so they can all go on one channel and it works. Whereas I think because the niches are so different, you'd have to do different channels. You could call it Fully Game OnlyFans or, you know, Fully Game Business, different channel, and just grow them simultaneously.
You could do the Fully Game agency there, couldn't you? Just get them in with that.
Like that's probably a better way to do it, and you'll find out which ones work, and the numbers will tell you if like people are more interested in this than they are the OnlyFans. You go, right, well, let's not do the
Your eyeballs for hot birds will probably be higher, but it's just how long are you gonna? For me, it'd be like how long. He might keep that up for years and want to do that, but it's not something that I'd want to do. I make a decision what I want to do in terms of forever in my world.
Right. Yeah.
That's how I'm making a decision. Like if I'm going to do something, I want to take it. I want to sign. It might take a long time, but I want to take it all the way.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily start something like go back to what we're saying with jiu-jitsu there. If I'm not fully ready to start that, I won't start something because I know I'm addictive in personality.
Yeah, okay.
So I ain't going to start something unless it's like, right, I know I'm going to give 3 evenings up a weekend for that or 3 mornings up a week for that. This is where we're sort of in this limbo land now. But we've only been doing it. We've been doing it under a year.
Yeah.
But we need to start seeing the result.
And what's the result?
Well, you'd like to hope that the viewership grows. I think we've got a core group, haven't we? But you're doing this so people can see it, and then from that, potentially, if we could do this full time and just be content creators full time, and from that have offshoots of business, then that's my dream.
Yeah.
And you've got the attention here that people like. You can offshoot that into multiple businesses, whatever it might be that you choose to monetize the eyeballs. So that was sort of my idea.
So do you film it and do you edit it? Like, how does this work?
It's a joint thing.
Is
I'll do the multicam. Sometimes I'll do the multicam. It usually does the multicam, and then I'll sort of show it up if I can do that.
Yeah. Because like what I'd say is like you're in this together. Like you don't have business partners, but you're kind of business partners in this.
Yeah.
You could always capitalize on each other's audiences here. You know, like if the OnlyFans thing has got eyes and a lifespan that can facilitate this. If this is a slow burner, the Fully Game podcast, it's a slow burner, but you want it to be there forever. If you can accelerate the process by doing the OnlyFans podcast or OnlyFans chat or agency, and that takes off, that could make fucking loads of money. It's not your North Star, but it could quite easily facilitate you to be in a bigger studio, more equipment, you know, like that's what I would say. I would say what can facilitate you to get to that goal. That's why we don't do sponsorships and stuff, because at the minute we don't need to. Like our stuff stands on its own 2 feet. It makes money, but we make more money by doing videos on Base Channel, doing videos for the Rolex dealer, doing videos for private equity company, and I can still do that other thing.
Yeah.
But if I switched it and I went, right, the podcast needs to pay my wage and the studio's wage and my editor's wage, I'd go, right, well, we're gonna have to do some sponsorships here. We're gonna have to see a bigger return on it. And how could I do that? So I'd say do that. I think the OnlyFans thing's got legs, and there's like loads of them clips on, you know, YouTube, TikTok.
Sometimes
you set off, you be on production behind the scenes, because like it'd probably be better. I don't know, like that's like if it's just you and an OnlyFans girl and you both live that world, you can't really add much to it unless you do OnlyFans.
Yeah, I just don't see why I would want to sit there and produce it though.
Because you're gonna get a slice of the pie.
Yeah.
So like it's for the bigger end goal, isn't it?
It would work with you with an OnlyFans chick. I do think that, like, but
And then just chuck a collab in there at end.
oh yeah.
Nah.
Do you know what you need to explain the collab means? He's going to knock back out of her.
Yeah, so
Oh yeah,
well, before I met my missus, I've only been seeing my missus for like a year.
right.
And when I split up with my ex a couple of months before it, went full on into OnlyFans, started doing collabs with birds, like filming videos and doing whatever. Got like 3 collabs in, met my missus. I was that focused on the OnlyFans stuff. I said, I don't want a girlfriend. I'm focusing on my work. I'm going to be doing these with other girls. Like, you don't want anything to do with it. And she's like, oh, like, I'll try. I'll see how it goes. I'm like, oh, fuck it. If she's decent, she's easygoing, and she lets me do this, and it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Did a collab while I was seeing her. She was like, oh, I don't actually mind that. Yeah, it didn't really bother me. So I'm like, oh, sweet. Went on holiday to Mexico for 2 weeks. Came back. This was like 2 weeks into his relationship. Came back, did another collab. She burst out crying. She's like, can't do it. So, but then by this time, I'm already like pretty deep into, not deep in, it's only like a month into a relationship. But I'm like, oh, I shouldn't really waste a good relationship just so I can go and shag girls.
Yeah.
Now I'm out of the fucking collab game. It's just like,
Yeah, but that was your career though, wasn't it?
well, mate. But I mean, the ball's still rolling in other areas. It just means I can't do that one section. But to be honest, all my fans are gay men anyway. So most of them, they're not asked about me. They're not asked about me knocking the back out of women anyway. Most of them. But
so you must make mad money from OnlyFans.
it's not. I wouldn't say it's crazy money. Like, there's a lot of creators make more money than me, but it's
Have you said what it is on camera before? Should I not ask? I'm so used to being in this world where
tax reasons.
All right, you cut this bit out.
Not tax. I pay my tax. I'm fucking fully legal, but it's like, I don't know, 10 to 15k a month usually.
It's fucking some money that though, isn't it?
Yes, to say I've got like a nice easy lifestyle.
Yeah.
Do what I want. Work on this whenever I want.
Yeah.
So, but the goal is to just push it further this year now.
See, like that's where I mean, like this should facilitate that. Like I think you'd be missing a trick to not do. Do you remember seeing like this clip kept popping up on my Instagram recently? And I'm obviously not in this world, but there were an American couple.
Yeah.
Where
Adam 22,
probably did his missus go shag this other
black guy,
big black guy
for the first time? Yeah.
Yeah, so like that were going all over the place. But then since that, like loads of other like podcasts, sex podcasts have come up where they're talking about the shit that no one ever talks about, you know, like fucking butt plugs or
Yeah,
dick
but do you
bumps.
think that's just degeneracy, man? Completely.
No, but
If
if
it's
you,
what?
but
Just
it is.
like-
But no, but what you got to think is if you're in a kitchen or a party with boys, you talk about that shit all night.
We spoke about sex
I
tapes
don't
on our
talk
last
about
podcast.
butt plugs at parties, but
No, not butt plugs, but like, let's say if a bird's on and you're asking a funny story and she starts talking about
Yeah,
stuff
I
like,
get it.
yeah, sometimes you might be like, ugh.
But that's where you've just got to sit out. Like because you're not the audience,
Yeah.
but there'll be a massive
for
audience
sure.
there, and like voyeuristically, I'd be sat there going, oh, I wonder what she's gonna say, you know, like I wonder what he's gonna say. When you said dick pumps, I'm like, I fucking need to hear this story.
Maybe I'm just a
'Cause,
bit
like,
immune
it's
to it with
funny.
you. Just doesn't phase me anymore, but
Yeah, you've probably become.
maybe you
numb.
need to do that then.
I think you'd be onto a massive winner if you were just sat down with male OnlyFans creators, probably female, like because it's I think YouTube's 80% male. Therefore, like you'd assume that most males would be watching
Yeah.
females and obviously males on males. I think you'd be missing a trick there to not do that. Like you sit down with other OnlyFans and then just create fucking clips, man. Like Instagram Reels, TikToks, and then have the longer show on YouTube. I think you'd sky's the limit, and then have the Fully Game podcast as it's like your retirement plan.
Yeah, slow burner, but there.
Yeah, because it's going to take a lot of like. I completely understand your integrity behind it. I totally get it. So
Because my feeling would be there personally would be, well, I just take on a couple more clients. You know, if it's, you're fearful of like, right, I'm 35, I'm in the peak of my business life, I've got the skill set. You're juggling, well, where's my time go here?
yeah,
That's the finite thing, that you've got the time, you've got the business making the money, but you always want more. It's like the finite time of, right, where are you putting your energy? So
Yeah.
there's going to be a return.
see, my view now is this is why I got rid of Octagon. It's like, the past is a story and the future is not determined yet. Like we've got now and that's it. All we know is now. The past has happened and the tomorrow might not actually happen. So if I've only got if today is all I've got, what do I want to be doing with my time? I want to be sat down. I want to do my podcast with Adam. I want to enjoy myself and I want to only work on things that I actually want to work on. And like this gets more uncomfortable because if you go, I want to do it, or you go, I don't want to do it, and he goes, I want to do it, then you've got to be that brutal and go, well, I need to go do this.
Yeah.
That's why I said like Octagon, I can't do this anymore because I want to do my podcast, I want to be with my family, and that's it. Like, and now forego the pounds and pence that came with it,
Yeah.
and I accept the consequences. But I think I can replace it tenfold by going all in on my podcast. So that's what 2024 is for me. Like, let's fucking see where we can take this
On the pod.
on the pod, yeah, and just fucking sure as shit. We've got some massive guests lined up.
Any
James
that you
Smith
can tell.
Not really. They're not. We've got James Smith has been on. We've got Paul Smith coming back on, and we've got potentially the UFC heavyweight coming on,
Tom Aspinall.
possibly.
It's a good one.
So like that's fucking 3 big names on January the 7th, is it?
Yeah. That's good.
And we need to, I will keep going. But, you focus a bit of time onto it. You go, all right, we've got some big guests there. And it's completely, we've worked out the platform for it now. They come on the podcast and we put them on Adam's channel. Does an eating challenge. Everybody wins. Fucking everybody grows. And that's a bit like what we just said there. As eggs are not just in that one basket, I'm there supporting Adam on his channel. So as much as I'm all in on the podcast, all the other things do actually sort of tie in weirdly.
How quickly did you get an edit of doing all your multicam and stuff like that? You still do a lot yourself?
What do you mean?
So you
We live switch.
say you, dear.
Yeah. So, because it's a long time, it's fucking ages, isn't it? When you sat it,
Fuck me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. As soon as we did that, it was taking a day to edit just to do a first cut of a podcast.
Ours takes longer than that.
Does it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just went I've always had an editor. So
What's a live switch then?
So it's, as soon as someone talks, to just clicking it, camera goes.
So it's a
up and
black magic board where you'd plug HDMI leads into all these, and you've got a screen, and you literally just you can just cut between them. But you've also got a hard drive into it. So if you fuck up a cut and you're like, you sort of switched to the wrong one, you can go back in post and just
Takes 10
remove that
seconds
cut.
to do it.
Yeah. So like when we've finished a podcast, so this like last year we were really passive with the podcast, but we could release a podcast within an hour of doing it because it's cut. We just knew the timestamps where we were going to make the intro from, so we could record it in the morning, we're out in the afternoon.
We need to look at
And
that.
I got all that time back. Oops, sorry. I got all that time back. So like, if you can plug all these in, and just have somebody sat in background switching, pay them whatever amount.
paying for the hour.
Big
Pay
Red,
for-
Big
yeah.
Red could do it, but he's good fucking absconded.
Yeah.
With AWOL.
But you'll get all this time back, and then you're more efficient. Because then, really, you don't want to spend in 2 days doing the fucking first cuts. You want to spend 2 days doing clips
Agreed.
and reels.
And do you do your clips and reels
Yeah.
yourself?
Yeah.
And how much time would it take you to do one reel?
I don't personally do it, but George will knock out fucking as many as I tell him to do in a day.
Yeah.
So
How much is that board thing?
I've got one. I've got so we've got I think about 100, one's about 1,000 quid, one's about 500 quid. So there's one where you can live switch, but then you don't have the option to sort of go back and change the cuts. That was the first one that we had, and then we've got like the bigger one where you can plug a hard drive in. I think they're about 1,000 quid, 800 quid.
I'm buying that today.
But it's like I was like, oh, it's 1,000 quid. But then I'm like, I've got George sat there for fucking a day and a half just doing the first cuts before we even got. So it was taking like a week to do a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll get that back on his wage within about fucking 3 days. So just let's get that. And again, it's just efficiency in it. How quickly can we rattle content
100%.
out?
It puts me off sometimes having to face that demon. You know, if you've got a busy client service and you.
No wonder you said before when I'm saying fucking get another podcast, get an OnlyFans one lined up.
I'm about to jump on my back there. Mate, I'm jumping guard then.
Yeah, just fucking. if you're sat corner with a live switcher, you're just rattling them out. Bang, 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 done. And then you go straight into.
Hey, get that bought today.
Straight into. I'll send you a link to it.
Send me Amazon link.
But like. This is all shit I've already had to think about a couple of years ago. But yeah, like
you probably find me hanging if I do another show.
Yeah, I bet.
You come into Mondays up there.
Just leave this one on cutting room floor. Accept it as an L, and then just fucking.
That's the demon, mate. It's like we you know, you say there that you've just sort of learnt yourself. So have we. Like we started with just fucking whatever, and we didn't know what we were doing. Then we bought Rodecaster and bought the mics and bought this and bought this. Like editing, it's not my game. My games were sales and marketing, so it's just.
And that, you know full well, like just outsource as soon as it's as efficient as possible, or like if it costs more for you to do it than what it does for somebody else to do it, or vice versa, just outsource it. Because it's like how many if that's why I don't edit anymore. I barely do any filming because I know I can make more money by not doing it. I'll pay somebody else to do it.
How much are you paying editors?
It depends where you look for them. I've got a full-time editor in studio, so he's on salary, but. A lot of them will do it per podcast, so they might charge you, I don't know, fucking 300 or 400 quid for an episode and 4 clips and some reels. Like I
tried that, but it was fucking dog shit, wasn't
it? You've got to kiss a few frogs. Like that's why I like having an editor in studio because I can sit there.
I'd love that eventually, in-house guy who you can trust,
and he's invested in it. He's on the show now, so like he's in the podcast, he's in the seat. He knows exactly what needs to be done. We're like in sync, you know.
This is what we tried doing for Keegan though. It's my cousin. He finished work for a couple of weeks. Had like 6 weeks off. We invited him onto the show.
Yeah,
he'll be watching this. I know he will. And I said to him like in return, he wanted to do OnlyFans. I said, you start an OnlyFans, I'll manage it for free.
Yeah.
In return, you come on Fully Game, help us out when we need it, and you can come and sit on an odd show. Give him a mic there at first, then we'll let him sit on a couple.
Yeah.
And all I wanted in return was, we'll give him a laptop. Amy's got a laptop. I'll teach him how to edit. Just do some clips.
Yeah.
Learn how to multicam, do whatever. And then he's just like, he didn't see the longevity in it, and he's just gone back to work and just not really.
It's fucked in it. It's hard. Like if everybody could do it, they would.
Tough,
it's fucking well.
Yeah, it's tough.
But also it's hard if you're teaching yourself. We taught ourselves off YouTube and just like talking to each other. Whereas I would have been able to teach him everything I know in a couple of weeks or a couple of days, whatever. Some people just aren't willing to just put a couple of hours of unpaid work in to learn a new trick to get himself out of the fucking working on digging roads. Up
and that's
doing
how
whatever.
George started. So our editor, he were a gigging musician, man. Like 20. I think he was probably 22, 23 at the time. He was just on the road gigging like in Halifax or whatever. And he didn't want really doing much. He didn't even know how to edit. He didn't know anything. And I said, look, come in, learn a bit if you want. So he did a couple of days for no. And he kept coming back, couple of days. Then I started paying him like, oh, you can do this, And then I was like, right, just do the podcast. So he'd do a little bits on the podcast. Now he's full-time. He's full-time on the show. Like full-time, well, he's full-time in general. So he's full-time in the studio. He's working on client work. He's edited documentaries. He edited all the Stage to the Cage for Channel 4. And he only started 2 years ago.
Nice.
So he went from fucking never done any editing, never looked at anything in production to editing a Channel 4 series.
So get George's Instagram and we'll outbid him today.
But that's exactly what I intended to do with Keegan. But it's just.
But again, like you've got to kiss a few frogs. I think
you have,
I think you've
100%.
got to just find that person that is passionate about.
So having the patience, like you say there, you've given a little bit of time to him there, I'm surmising, haven't you? And brought him along, and it's been your return on your investment and your time there is massive now. So you've got a full-time editor you trust.
And I wasn't up for it at the start. Like I couldn't be asked because I'd edited it before and I had to sack him and fucking nightmare. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And then he sort of turned up, and for a friend of a friend, I'm like, right, let's just give it a go.
Yeah.
And we're here now.
Sometimes you just think, oh fuck it, it's easier to just do it myself rather than like trying to train someone and rely on them to come back the next day. Innit?
Yeah.
But you have definitely got to kiss a few frogs to find them. What I will ask you is, who's your favourite guest you've had on your podcast?
Danny Mitchell, you know.
He's the man, innit?
Yeah, we've had some fucking big names and that, but Danny is just I could like wholeheartedly. If I hadn't met Danny, I don't know where I would have been. Really, he's probably one of the most influential people that's ever come into my life, or however you want to look at it. He's so humble. He gives everybody so much time. He's so fucking interesting and so intelligent. That he's probably the most interesting guest that we've had on. The first time round when we retread old ground that I already knew, but the audience loved it. I want all the success for Danny Mitchell and me.
Yeah.
If it weren't for Danny, I wouldn't have known Brian Lacey, and I wouldn't have then ended up doing a podcast with Danny, and then I wouldn't have never got Octagon. And obviously, like, I had to do the work as far as like knowing how to physically do the work, and I had to then do the work for Brian, and I got Brian on a job when we did badminton world championships, but it all led to Octagon. And if it weren't for meeting Danny and that journey, I would have never got the Octagon gig, you know. So like, he's had such a massive impact on my life. Like, I want him to have all the success in the world, you know.
He's crazy how smart he is, so he gets punched in the head for a living.
I was so surprised.
He's unbelievably intelligent, and he's
Yeah.
got depths. His recall's unbelievable. His historical standpoint on things, and Maury's view on things as well is strong.
Yeah. Oh, what was that?
We're inside a pub here, mate.
It's a rolling shutter, bro. It happens about this time every.
It's not ideal.
Yeah, Danny, he came on the show this week actually, and for our 100th episode, he'd built mine and Adam's family tree. So the call was initially, we were like, he started doing genealogy. We were like, right, Adam's last name is Moran. My grandma's last name is Moran. I was like, are we related? That was like the hook for the show. Danny went away, did a full family tree, fucking list with like 6-7 months of work. He came back and delivered it all back to us. Are we related? Who are we related to? Turns out I'm related to fucking Charles Darwin, and like the guy that broke the bank at Monaco, and all these different things. Adam's related to like fucking pirates from in Cornwall. We're not related.
Looks a bit like a pirate, don't
Yeah, we're not related through the Moran line into Ireland. But Danny delivered this like an hour and a half, just epic podcast. Me and Beard were just sat like mouths open, like, what the fuck has just happened? He is the most interesting person ever. I want to help facilitate that for him now. I want him to have his own show doing genealogy for fighters.
Yeah, he should, shouldn't he?
I think and we spoke about it, I'm like, you should do a series on fighters to start with, because he's done Paddy the Baddy, he's done Tom Aspinall, he's done all these people. Do a 5-part series, deliver a podcast with him as he delivered it to us, and then go into a slightly different niche of celebrity, but that still is niche down. So like fighters works really well. Then you could go into, I don't know, fucking YouTubers, and then you could go into like, and I'm like, that'd be a good series of.
That'd be so good.
And that's sky's the limit, you know. So like, I hope that we can sort of pull that off for him.
Danny did a very similar thing for me before we came to Octagon. We had him on podcast like a week or two before, and he told us about genealogy for the first time. We didn't know he were into that.
Yeah.
And then when we came to Octagon, we were sat in crowd, and he went, "Oh, by the way, I researched your family name." And like, and basically did what he's done with you, but not as much in depth.
Okay, yeah.
And he told me that don't say, is it what's called Brendan Lacey?
Brian Lacey.
Brian Lacey. He told me I'm like distant cousins to Brian Lacey.
Really? Yeah.
And our second names are spelt differently, but it was like back then it was Lassie, and it ended up changing. It went DeLacy and then Lacey. So somewhere down the line, me and Brian are related. But don't tell Brian, because I think Danny wants to like somehow come up with something to break it to us both. But yeah, it's I never used to be interested in history, and now I'm just like really interested in it. So
it's an age thing. You've got a child coming, you're just like getting older. Yeah. That's the next step in it.
That's what it is. Isn't it? Josh, before we leave, when are you? Have you had the conversation with Amy about having a child yet?
I've got to get married, mate. You know this sequence. Like,
Well,
there's a sequence.
Is there any progress with that?
No.
What's this? Is it like an ongoing thing?
It's not like it's an ongoing thing. Everyone around me is probably having babies now. I think I'm 35. I'm not getting any younger. Set with business, stuff like that. But the missus won't have kids until we're married. I just don't want to get married yet.
Why?
I don't know, mate. I don't.
Why? Adam's that beard's. The
I
exact
really
same
don't.
way.
Like, if you to ask me why, if we just said today, go to registry
Yeah.
and do it, I'd probably do it. I'm not like in
So
fear of that. I'm not really. I'm an introvert at heart, me. I like doing things that are extroverted because it's just what I've had to do. But my worst thing would be like, that wedding day, and that's all about me. I'm not about it all been about me.
But you want the kids.
But I want kids.
So I mean, like, can you not just go have a
Take
registry
that,
office?
I'll just take it abroad and just get it boxed off. I think that's what we'll probably do. Might just be a Vegas.
Are you not
job.
scared of having kids? I got married.
Not at all.
Did you?
I'd like to have kids now.
Oh, you
feel
would, yeah?
I'd like to have kids now, so.
That's more than most. Most blokes like, oh, I don't know if I'm ever going to be ready. I always
I don't
say
think you ever will be fully ready, though, so there's no point in saying
it
that.
takes 9 months to cook one, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So like in that time, you sort of get your head around it. And then it's amazing when they do arrive. So,
Let's see how, I'm going to see how this man
How he
attacks
See how I
it.
fare.
To see how he fares, see how he goes, because he'll give me a true read. Ben Cocaine, who's a very close friend of mine, his life's completely changed from kids.
yeah.
So there's been people close to me who I've known very, very well, who I can see a night and day difference in the personality. Now they've softened up as a person as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Which, will you soften up? I don't know. We're going to see, aren't we?
See,
Probably.
Beard is like, he don't want kids. And then he's like, maybe I might just have to, I might have kids one day. And I just went, I'm like, I know him,
How old's he now?
38. I'm like, you should not have children.
Sperm lasts a long time though, don't they?
Yeah, but I was just like, he is not. He's just not built for it. He's not that man. He's not a person. He don't want kids. Yeah, he's a man that should not have children. He's just not. He's 38 years old. He's so set in his way. He's like practically an old man.
I feel a little bit like that. Though.
And it would
I like my
absolutely
routine.
kibosh
I like
his
my
world.
routine too much.
Yeah, he's got into his routine of flying out to America, doing his videos. Lifting every day, fasts. Like he's got his life. He's like robotic.
When you say he fasts, what he just likes long fasts.
Yeah, he eats once a day, and then if he's got a food challenge come up, he won't eat for a few days, and then he's a grumpy bastard. You know what I mean? Like he can't.
Does he have his blood work and stuff done when he's eating them sort of meals?
Yeah, so he goes and has like a booper full screening every year. Like top to bottom. And
Yeah.
he's well on top of it.
Nice.
He's in really good nick.
He looks it to say he
Yeah.
can put that much food away.
But yeah, so like he's one where I just go, you shouldn't have children. Having had a kid, I'm like, it's fucking mental. So like you should. He thinks he could just carry on as he is, and I'm
Yeah,
like, no, you
not gonna. The first time then we'll wrap it up. The first time you saw him eat like a serious amount of food, were you in awe of it when you saw it in person?
no, it's boring, mate.
Is it?
Like it looks like he does these 8-minute videos, and they're like really entertaining and vloggy, and he like talks over the top of them. In real life, it's the most boring thing you've ever watched. It's like it could take him fucking 40 minutes to eat a burger,
Yeah.
and then in between he might like gibber a bunch of shit to camera and then carry on eating. It's just silent, and then it just gets disgusting.
What's your mate called who did fucking Christmas Carol? Rate My Takeaway.
Rate My Takeaway.
Yeah, Phil Bennett fancies a bit of him charity boxing.
Oh yeah,
Think you could make that happen?
maybe.
Phil Bennett's a fucking tough opponent though. You think Marlon could do him?
I don't know. I've seen Phil Bennett.
Phil
Did you
can-
say Phil Bennett's a tough opponent?
Phil's got hands, mate.
Has he
I'm
actually?
fucking telling you, brother. I won't fucking. Why would I fucking just make that up? He's got hands, mate.
I just can't see that
He's
at
got.
all.
He's a bit compromised with fitness, but we can get a camp in
Yeah,
him.
but look up pair of them.
Yeah, fucking battle at heavyweights.
Butterbean.
Get him on get Danny on your podcast and call him out. I'll connect you up.
Or we could just have Phil walk in fucking halfway through.
With fucking Butterbean shorts on, with glory
would be
American
like
shorts
Butterbean.
on. Yeah,
I think we could make a thing of that if it's charity. I think we could really blow that fight up.
I think
Danny Marlin v Phil Bennett, Battle of
that'd be
Morley.
Fucking horrendous to watch, would it?
You think?
I think it'd be
get them all greased up and that before as
There's
well.
all these YouTuber boxing things. I saw like some property guys on like some like LinkedIn influencers, Samuel Leeds and
Oh, yeah,
Rob
yeah.
Moore.
Yeah, yeah.
They had a box. What the fuck right have they got to be?
Well,
who gives a
Rob
bollocks?
Moore, ain't Rob Moore the network marker? Some progressive podcast.
Fuck knows what he does, mate. But why are them two having boxing matches like anybody gives a fuck? Watch it. Like, how dare they think that they could? Like, what's the point? No one gives.
I
a
always
fuck.
said this. Why do influencers get into boxing?
But two middle-aged men off LinkedIn.
Yeah, they're not,
having
they're
a
not, they're
fucking
not
boxing
like
match.
you. I get because you can fight. Like,
Yeah.
it's a spectacle to watch two lads who can have a dig. I don't get why people who aren't trained just want to get involved with that.
Yeah,
Toughest sport in the world, probably.
One of Andrew Tate's henchmen's called you out.
Yeah, I think he's pussied it, to be fair.
Yeah.
He did say, so obviously we're giving it big on that fucking live stream. I did a little reply video.
Yeah.
And then he commented saying, "Oh, I'd never be able to get down to 85." So, but he was like being nice back. So I was kind of okay back. Then he followed me. So I messaged him saying, "Are we getting it on or what?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "I'm just really busy at the moment, mate. But Warren says that you sound. Send me a number over and we'll have a chat or we'll meet up." So I'm like,
What?
That's why I said talk about fucking what?
That's off
Unless
brand.
these people just see it solely transactional and they think, how can we make as much money as we can out of
if that's
it?
what it is, if he rings me and says, "All right, I'll do it, but we need to be like organising this and fucking causing each other
Yeah,
shit," and then I'd be like, "It's fine, no worries." But
Yeah, like you're in a prime position for that, really. Like I think you do well, and that'd be a good one to try and get, wouldn't it?
definitely the only thing is he's 96 kilo. I'm like 84,
87's fine, mate. You don't think?
87 would be fine. But I've just done. I had my last meal at 9:30 last night. I'm doing the Dana White 86-hour fast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
What's the longest you've done before?
I've done 48 hours, I think.
80. I'd be intrigued to see what happens. Then.
Well, I'm doing a full vlog on it as well. I
yeah.
started vlogging it yesterday, so I'm just going to vlog every day
Like,
now.
not eating again.
yeah. It's a shit. Feel like shit. Can do with a drink.
Not even having coffee anymore.
No, that's the thing. Coffee and nicotine would usually be something that helps you get through
Yeah.
being hungry, but it'll be a fucking big mental test though. Not having any of them vices whilst not eating and just having.
That'd be
water
good.
and-
That you should. Yeah, but I'd like call him back out again. Tag some of his mates in. Luke Barnett from Octagon, get him in. He's like one of Andrew Tate's henchmen.
Yeah,
all the boys.
Luke Barnett's friends with Warren, the other guy that run the thing. So it's a weird one, really. I don't really want to like piss them people off because they could at some point become like allies. And
It's not that it's allies, mate. He called for that fight.
Yeah.
he did. No, he did. 100%.
He
Just
called
make
for
as
the
much
fight.
noise as possible until he's got to like. Just keep
Do you
fucking
think? Do you
calling
think
that.
just not even wait for this call? Just be like,
Yeah,
fuck this guy.
Yeah.
zero calls, mate. Build it online.
Because you're
just
being
go
really
straight up.
polite. Yeah, I'd just be like,
I know. I am too polite. I could just be straight up savage and just screenshot his message and be like, bitch.
Yeah.
But it's like, if he's wanting to do it and he's just wanting, he's like, well,
if you were gonna sell a fight, that's the shit that's gonna sell a fight.
Yeah.
He's been like, fuck, you know that where it's like a shitty green screen, DMs there. You could be like, you're at corner going, you fucking pussy. Look at this. You didn't ring me. Let's fucking go.
yeah.
you know?
And the good thing is, on the end of that clip, he's like, he goes, Warren, I wouldn't say I'm going to fight someone and not fight, and that's what fucking bitches do.
It's a
So-
gob,
Yeah.
gob
It's a
shite.
fucking-
That's what gobshite does.
just bring that energy and be like, sounds like a fucking bitch move to
Yeah,
me.
that-
Like, because that's what's gonna sell a fight.
I suppose I've just got to fucking stop being a nice guy.
Yeah, it's what we said
basically.
at the top of the hour, isn't it? Like most fighters don't know, like they can't sell fights. They're really good fighters, but they can't sell.
You were too
fights.
nice to one, mate, and that didn't fucking
know,
go well. So
I
we
know.
need to start fucking getting this bitter streak out.
I don't know what's happened, bro. I think I've got soft. I
DMT,
used to
like
be-
I'm a big
DMT.
believer that a lot of these fighters who I know, right, who do psychedelics, which will soften your heart, right?
Yeah,
Don't do it if you're a fighter.
yeah.
Like, do not do it. It takes my edge off in business. You know, if I smoke a little bit too much, it takes my edge
Yeah.
off business because it's going to make you question things just that little bit more. Why am I working so hard? Should I be spending more time with family?
It's that. I think it's just that all-in thing, you know. Like,
Yeah.
like he brought that energy. I saw that live stream. Yeah, I saw you reply. All right, under one condition.
It was up in 2 pints. then,
Eight-
mate.
85 kilos, wasn't it?
And by the way, I would be comfortable fighting at 75.
Yeah.
So that's like 10 kilo. I fought at 80 like 2 months ago, and that was still too heavy for me.
Yeah.
So I'd be giving him fucking like 13, 14 kilos there, and he'd be cutting down weight. So he'd be.
You've got to think of like if you think you can win the fight and you know you're going to make some money, just go fucking.
Oh,
all in.
100%. I'll give him a few kilos. I'm not asked
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that. I'll just fucking go in there with him.
Bring that energy there in. Like I would
right.
literally go back in and just go all like because that's what they're going to use as market material to sell the
Yeah.
fight. You know, you got to go for it.
Well, if Tate's come after me, I'm sending him this clip of you telling me to do it, bro, and they're just gonna fucking.
I don't think you turned my fucking back on, by the way. There.
I did, bro.
Did you?
Yeah. Don't you worry about that.
This is never seen light here. This podcast, is it? Just a chat in a fucking
Oh, no, we-
back of a pub.
No, once we
We'll make
work
it
his
work.
magic on it, it'll look brand new. You won't be able to tell that I got up and changed Josh's light and did all that shit. Anyway, Josh, thank you very much for joining us, mate.
cheers,
Thank you for
now
sharing
we've got
his
to change
knowledge
his
as
full
well, brother.
business plan. Need an editor. I need to spend $1,000 on this. Fucking the joys. Let's go.
I want to see the success,
No,
man.
mate,
I think
I appreciate the insight.
you've put so much effort into this already. You've been having good conversations with good people. You know, it's literally just going all in. Just commit to it and don't be scared to do this. I think the OnlyFans thing's got an arm to it. Just if you're in front of camera and you're behind camera and you've got all the assets, just fucking go, man. Like, I think it'll bring you a lot of success.
He's got loads of money, so he can maybe pay me a day rate for that.
Yeah, 100%.
You've got enough money, bro. You don't need day rates, bro.
I'll do a good day rate for you, mate, mate.
Thank you very much, Josh.
Thank you,
Cheers,
boys.
Cheers, brother. Yeah, definitely turn.